A victory in Epping as the High Court blocks the use of a local hotel for housing migrants.
At the end of the day, we got a point to make, and we've made it, and we would have stayed here to as long as it have ever have taken to have got them out of ill. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
The Home Office warns the ruling could tear up the government's asylum plan if other councils follow suit.
Reform UK calls it a win for local people.
Is Britain's asylum system now in free fall, and could this spark a fight back across Britain?
Money in the pockets of working people, higher living standards promised by this Labour government, delivered by this Labour government.
Well, the big question is Rachel Reeves on track to keep that promise. New inflation figures, they're going to come out at 7 o'clock this morning, helping to decide how much your train fares are next year.
Would be about 3 feet higher than it is now, and it would be full to the door. So we've got a very reduced amount of grain due to the dry weather.
British farmers were warned they could face one of the worst harvests on record. And now, as the combines roll in, we find out if those fears are becoming a reality.
Sure that vapes are used to get people off smoking as a tool, because smoking is very harmful to people's health.
A major review finds that children who vape are 3 times more likely to go on to smoke. So, are we creating a nicotine generation?
TV veteran John Stapleton will join us to open up about his Parkinson's diagnosis and why he's refusing to slow down.
Good morning. The relationship cannot continue. Those the words of Newcastle striker Alexander Isak, who's spoken for the first time of his desire to leave St James's Park with Liverpool, having already made a £110 million offer for the player. We'll look at what it all means later this hour.
You're stuck under a cloud this morning. I've got some promising news for you. Sunshine is going to return later on for much of the UK. Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Hello there to you on this Wednesday morning. A very good morning to you, whoever you're watching and listening. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
And we say good morning to Ellie, back again.
Hello.
Ellie, what a 2 days I've had.
Did you have a nice time?
I had a mad woman in your place.
You and Penny were reunited.
Oh, dear goodness me, I'm glad you're back. Oh, she's in today, though, isn't she?
She is, yeah.
She's on the newspapers.
She can't get enough of us here on Breakfast. She's back in with the papers. No, look, really fun. It's nice that you're reunited.
Yeah.
That's good. I had a good time in Spain, so that was lovely. My friend got married, so I was a bridesmaid for her. So we had a lovely time. But I was very happy last night to be back in my own bed.
Well, you're always travelling. You're always... I mean, especially this year, it's been
a bit bonkers.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting married. Everyone's getting married abroad. This is what people do these days. So, yeah, but it was lovely. Really nice. But this is what was in the Daily Mail this morning, saying that this is about what people miss when they're on their holidays. Because we do like to come home, it seems, British people. And 50% of people say it's coming back to their own bed, which is lovely. 44% said they missed their routine. 39% of people miss their pets. That would be you.
I used to miss TV and things that were on at certain times. But
27% missed their TV shows.
Well, I couldn't care less now.
You can watch it on catch-up, can't you?
Everything's on catch-up.
That's true.
You can tape it all, it's all there. But there's very little that you would actually say, oh, gosh, I've got to see that. If you do, they're on catch-up, they're on.
My mum went to the Vatican back in the mid-80s with my dad. We found and all the rest of it in Rome. And they came home early because she just couldn't get a cup of tea. She was desperate for a cup of tea. Is it on the list? I'm surprised it's not on there.
25% of people miss their tea.
Oh, I see.
That's what it is. And
I'm not surprised.
Lots of people pack their own tea bags, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I know.
There's something about the water, something about the milk.
But it's also how it's packed, isn't it? You want to keep it fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. That's what I would say anyway.
I miss home-cooked food. If I'm away for too long, I just want to make my own dinners.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
So that's what it is. But anyway, it's good to be back.
Yep.
It's nice to be back.
No, thanks very much, Aidan. We'll see you again in 20 minutes' time. The top story this morning will involve you, because we want your views on what actually happened yesterday as regards Epping Forest Council, because the High Court granted an injunction. It stopped asylum seekers from being housed in the Bell Hotel. And you see the Express here today, and they are saying asylum hotel closure is a victory for the mums. It also says the dads there as well in the text. But your views today, we just want to know your... Sorry, I have to keep coughing here because there's air conditioning, which catches me in the throat. Can please somebody turn off the air conditioning, please?
It's blasting, yeah. There's water there.
It's water doesn't help. It's the air conditioning. It's catching my throat. And just get it off. Right, what were we saying there?
The Home Office has warned against this, saying such a ruling could undermine their asylum policies. But the judge disagreed, saying it wasn't right for the Home Secretary to intervene.
Right, with the Epping victory, other councils are weighing up similar legal action, potentially creating a fresh headache for the government. And we're going to get perspective on all of this from Claire Muldoon,
Good morning.
who's in reviewing the papers today. Claire, has this changed things? Do you think this is a victory for mums and dads?
It is to a certain extent, but the other issue with this is the High Court ruled that the Bell Hotel was being used improperly, i.e. it was in breach of its planning consent because it wasn't used as a hotel. Now, the judge in his ruling said that he didn't think there was anything surreptitious going on. He didn't think there was anything duplicitous. However, what they were doing, Simone Hotels, who own the Bell Hotel, what they did do was in breach of their rights, in breach of their contract, in terms of it should be as a hotel, not for housing asylum seekers or illegal immigrants. That is the key issue. Now, we've had Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage saying it's a victory. It's a victory for everyone locally to save women, save children and keep them safe.
We're going to see this repeated, aren't we?
That's the view. But have we heard from Ed Davey? Have we heard from the Greens? Have we heard from anyone else? A big silent no. We've also got the Notting Hill Carnival coming up this weekend.
And a bank holiday.
And a bank holiday. So Britain is already a tinterbox. The police are overly resourced, underly resourced in terms of the amount of overstretched. And we now think, well, what's going to happen? So we've got 14 days for the Bell Hotel to get rid of the asylum seekers that they're housing. Where are they going to go? Exactly. So it's all very well flag waving, getting the sound bites in, saying this is a great victory.
The thing is, Claire, they've got to be stopped at the port or in the sea. They've got to be saying, come no further, there it is, that's your lot, turn around, France, your problem.
But this has been an issue for ages. I don't know why it's just coming up to the surface now, OK? We've had 14 years of Conservative governments. We've had 1 year of this atrocious Labour government. What is happening? The answer... nothing, right? Nothing. And no one seems to be listening to us, the British public, for safeguarding people. I mean, that's what the government is there to do. That's what we should feel is safe, and we're not.
It's I totally get that. Totally agree with you. But it's also how communities, and I use that word, just let's think what a community is or what it's supposed to be. They are distorted. They change beyond recognition. You don't know who you're going to bump into. You don't know why people are there. The rules begin to change in your area. Nothing to do with you. It's to do with everybody brought in. I have seen this for myself. And you look and you see, you just can't do this.
No. And the other big buzzword is integration. Well, I'm sorry, there is no integration. All I have seen and all I have witnessed is dilution. Dilution of morals, dilution of faith, dilution of safety. We need to get that back. We do. We need to get that back.
There are about 200 hotels that are housing asylum seekers around this country. So what do you think this means as a precedent for the government? If we see other mums and dads come out on the streets, if we see other legal courses of action being taken in other councils, I mean, what's the alternative?
That is the danger, because this hotel was given this temporary ban because it wasn't used for its purpose that it was granted its licence for. That is the issue. That is the key. Now, we've got 12 local red reform councils, and Farage has said that they are looking into taking taking their council-led hotels to court, the same as Epping District Council has done.
Right, very interesting. It will develop. Thank you so much for your views, Claire.
Thanks,
and we'll see you later in the newspaper review, and I know we'll reflect what you've said there again. Thank you. In the meantime, we want reaction to what Claire has said there and what you think about all of this, and will things change? Has this affected your area, and what do you want to see being done? But then these poor people who are being housed there, the migrants, what happens to them? It's just not as easy. I can understand how you want to protect your community and stop it being changed and whatever, but what happens to the people who are in the Bell Hotel?
Yeah, and it just becomes another community's problem, doesn't it? I mean, if they're moved out of your town or village, they'll just be moved to another person's town or village, and the same problem will repeat itself.
Unless we stop them coming in the first place. But what a lot of people may see that as overly harsh.
Yeah, well, it's a record-breaking year, isn't it, for Channel crossings, which won't be helping people's mood on the streets. But anyway, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll-say.
6:10 is the time. What's next?
Well, after soaking up all of that glorious sun, are things going to change?
Well, the forecasters are saying
yes.
Hurricane Eamonn, right?
Nice name.
Is a Category 3 storm, winds 120 miles an hour. It will cross the Atlantic and it'll hit on the bank holiday, apparently. Currently 675 miles southwest of Bermuda. Their problem now, but it could be our problem by Sunday.
Lovely. So just in time for bank holiday Monday, bringing wind, rain and even some big waves along the coast.
Let's hear from meteorologist Nathan Rao on this one. Nathan, are we over-exaggerating this? What do you say?
Good morning, Eamonn. Good morning, Ellie. Over-exaggerating, I think what we're suffering from at the moment is a little bit of tabloid excitement, and what you're going to hear over the next few days, I am absolutely certain of it, is a hurricane to hit the UK. First thing I must say is we cannot, and we do not, we never have, and we never will get a hurricane in the UK. Hurricanes cannot survive the cold waters of the North Atlantic. So when you hear of a hurricane moving from the warm tropical waters close to the South America, when they move into the North Atlantic, they die very, very quickly, and they turn into an ex-hurricane. And what we're actually going to get is the remnants of a hurricane. And what that is, it's a bit of the energy that was wrapped up in the original feature. So to clarify that point, we're not going to get a hurricane. We may well see, though, the remnants of a hurricane. And what that does is it gets caught up in the jet stream and heads towards the UK and can disrupt our weather patterns. And at the moment, what you're going to hear from the Met Office and meteorologists is a lot of uncertainty, because how the remains of Hurricane Erin affect our weather patterns will depend on where she arrives. If she arrives slightly further to the south, we should get some wet and windy weather during the latter part of the bank holiday. But if she arrives to the north, depending on where that track goes, it could encourage some warmer air up from the south. The most likely outcome at the moment is for some wet and windy weather towards the latter part of the bank holiday. But in terms of a hurricane battering the UK, it's not going to happen.
Going to be lasting for, though, when it lands, Nathan? Are we going to have miserable weather all of next week, does it look like?
Yes, Ellie, that is quite possible. Sorry, not the answer you were hoping for. What the remains of the hurricane does is it disrupts the path of the jet stream, and that can have a longer lasting effect, as well as that energy being caught up in our weather patterns. And if it does veer slightly to the south, which is the most likely outcome at the moment, that could bring, yes, a week of wetter and windier weather throughout the beginning, the end of August and into the beginning of September. Nothing at the moment. I must caveat this with these things can always change, and I will repeat that when you look at the Met Office forecast, they are always going to talk about uncertainty. At the moment, it's a bit too early to say what exactly is going to happen, but it does look like that we're going to get some unsettled weather towards the end of the bank holiday, and yes, Ellie, that will remain through next week.
Top man, Nathan, thanks very much indeed for the update. We'll say goodbye to you and leave it there. Thank you. Now, your current weather update, we're going to go to Aidan McGivern to find out. Well, I think it's going to be a decent enough few days, but Aidan will tell you.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's certainly a cloudy start for many parts of the UK, but increasingly sunny weather is on the way from the east. However, it's going to feel cool in the breeze. The reason for the cloud breaking up is actually lower humidity air arriving from the northeast, and it's that northeasterly breeze that will make things feel cool, especially along the North Sea coast. Nevertheless, the thicker cloud tends to drift southwestwards through the day. It's going to be a slow clearance for the southwest of the country, but elsewhere, skies brightening through the afternoon, sunny spells, warm enough in the sunshine, but like I say, cool in the breeze with the low humidities. Some showers for parts of Shetland, for example, but for most of the UK, it's simply a dry afternoon, much drier for the southwest of England, where we've seen some heavy showers through Tuesday. Across much of the UK then, it's a bright end to the day. Still some patchy cloud here and there, not entirely blue skies. Western parts of Northern Ireland, for example, the Western Isles, as well as parts of the north of Scotland, where we'll continue to see showers into Shetland. But for many places, it is pleasant enough as we end Wednesday. Winds are easing by this stage as well, although still breezy around that north and east coast. Some cloud returns to eastern parts overnight, otherwise it's clear skies, and with that lower humidity air, it's going to be a fairly cool night for sleeping, certainly more comfortable compared with a lot of the nights we've experienced through the summer. Temperatures into the low teens, perhaps even single figures in some spots. But we start Thursday with bright skies, plenty of sunshine, particularly towards Wales, the West Midlands, the southwest, northern Scotland, for example. Some areas of cloud will be back, so not entirely sunny. And with that cloud and, again, that cool breeze, it is going to feel on the cool side. High teens, low 20s, so no heat wave, but pleasant enough with high pressure keeping things largely dry.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thanks, Aidan. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about how the weather is affecting the harvest and what the result has been for Britain's farmers right after this.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
What we're doing in Epping, that's got you talking today. It's got you talking, it's got us talking, and we're going to reflect what you're saying. Darren says, what a result for Epping residents. The judge should be Prime Minister.
Richard says the court and the council are listening to the people, but Starmer's Labour government are not. The people should be listened to by the government, like so many other policies. Clearly, they're not listening.
What are HMOs? Angela's saying, I don't see how it is a victory when all it will do is push them into HMOs.
It's houses of multiple occupancy.
Oh, yes. Caroline, there is no way that the Epping ruling will be allowed to stand. Guidance will come from above.
Yeah, Michelle makes...
Caroline is absolutely right there. I just a couple of high-profile court cases, and there are things that are politically sensitive, and I've been told from the inside how deals are done to make sure these cases don't come to court, so that there's no revelations that is going to be embarrassing. And so I see what she means there about this.
Michelle makes a similar point, saying the Bell Hotel is no victory. It was just a technicality. They still don't care what's happening in the communities. I mean, the point is, it's not a permanent injunction, is it? It's a temporary one.
Well,
so
Steve
will
makes
it
a
hold?
point. You can move the asylums out, but a deal is still being signed by the hotel. So what happens to the contract that they have signed? Will they still get money for nothing? And remember, it's our money that they are getting.
That's a good
Michelle
point.
says the Bell Hotel is no victory. It was a technicality. They're still not listening to us. They still don't care about what's happening in the communities. Well, Epping think that this is a big victory for them, and you keep letting us know what you think about this. Meanwhile, we're going to talk about the farming community, and summer harvests right across the whole land are starting to come to an end, but long spells of dry weather has meant that many yields are well below what they should be.
Well, our national reporter Jack Carson spent the day on a farm in Lincolnshire.
After another gruelling harvest, there's no rest for farmer Andrew Ward and his team in Lincolnshire. Combines need to be cleaned and fields cultivated. However, little to no rainfall since spring has meant arable farmers across the country are struggling.
So here we've got a heap of spring malting barley. This goes to make whiskey and beer. This crop was planted in March and harvested end of July. Now, normally this building, this grain store, the heap would be about 3 feet higher than it is now, and it would be full to the door. So we've got a very reduced amount of grain due to the dry weather. So the lack of rain has been catastrophic, especially to spring crops.
Activists say climate change is causing more extreme weather, whether that's droughts or flooding. But Andrew disputes the claim.
I've got rainfall figures going back 27 years. And for me, anything more than 100 millimetres of rain in a month is a lot of water. 1976 was an extremely hot year. That was years ago. That was like 50 years ago. And you look at it now, where we are today, and yet people are saying that it's the climate that's causing today. We were getting those problems and those weather effects years ago. It's the variations of weather that we get all the time.
Trouble at harvest soon has a domino effect, not only with the UK's food security, but livestock too. Straw and fodder shortages are already being reported, leaving some farmers starting to use reserves, usually left for the winter months. But even where crop yields have been average, Andrew says he faces selling his wheat and barley for less than the price more than 10 years ago.
The problem we've got at the minute is grain prices are really poor. At the moment, we're selling grain now. Feed wheat is around about £165, £170 per tonne. To put that in perspective, 2012, so that is like 13 years ago, wheat was £200 a tonne. So we were receiving £35 a tonne more 13 years ago. Yet the cost of growing that crop are not what it was in 2012. So whether it's fertiliser, whether it's agrochemical products, fuel as well, and labour, wages we're paying more for, national insurance, everything we're paying today's rate, but we're selling our crops at a lot less than it was in 2012. And that is not sustainable. It can't carry on. There are more farms for sale nationally than there has been for years. And that is the ones that people know about. There are a lot of farms that are now on the market and a lot of deals being done with people and friends and neighbours that is not publicised.
As another harvest goes by, farmers are warning that unsustainable costs mean more shed doors could soon be closed for good. Jack Carson, GB News, Lincolnshire.
I don't know about you, but I just get depressed watching that.
Well, it's depressing.
Colin Rayner. Colin is a director and farmer at Rayner Farms. And Colin, I talk to politicians all the time about this, and they profess false interest and crocodile tears and all the rest. They don't care. They have no understanding for this. And who is looking after you guys and what you do? Do you feel you're being looked after?
We've given up on the government years ago. You know, we've had our worst harvest since 1976. My first year was farming was in 1976. Most farmers have now finished harvest. We finish our harvest at the end of July. We should normally not be starting our harvest until the first week of August. Rainfall has remained the same over the last 25 years, but we now have these extreme hot weather. We had no straw coming out of the back of the combine. We couldn't supply our local farmers with their straw and hay this year. There just isn't enough. Our yields were down by 50%. And also we have this government making us put large portion of our farm into wildflowers and habitats for bumblebees.
Yeah,
So
absolutely no understanding whatsoever. And the thing is, I was going to say to you, you were talking about the changing weather patterns, and I know earlier this year rain seemed to be a problem, and last year rain was a problem for farmers and whatever. And you talk about more sunshine, more heat, whatever. And I was going to say, well, look, why don't you change and grow something else? But then how do we replace the wheat and the barley and everything that we're talking about? Where do they go to get it? We talk about fuel security in this country. And then food security. Would you go to Ukraine to get wheat? You know, well, look at the state Ukraine's in. What chaos.
Yeah, we have tried growing different crops. Normally we plant 400 acres of maize to feed local cattle herds and go into AD plants. But this year, the government paid us to put that into wildflower, and we did plant 5 acres of maize. Because we had no rain, it has never germinated. And I've been farming since 1976, and it's the first time in my life I put seed in the ground, and it's never germinated. And it's wonderful for the people of the southeast of England that we've had beautiful weather for outdoor events. It hasn't been much fun for us for the farmers. But we're now asking the question in Berkshire, can we grow wheat, barley, and oilseed, rape and beans in the Thames Valley? Because we've now had 10 years of bad weather, extreme weather, and our government needs to wake up, because one day we might not be able to import food from a third-party country like Ukraine. The rest of the world could be at war, and we need food security. And the government stopped a lot of vegetable farmers in Lincolnshire pumping water onto their crops. So all these farmers who are growing vegetables, potatoes, haven't been able to irrigate them. So there'll be a shortage of vegetables on the supermarkets shelves very soon.
Colin, I'm so sorry to hear all of that. It is a real mess. We've been listening to you, and we listen to farmers on GB News and try and give them a voice. But I despair as to who actually is going to take this seriously. Yeah. And we've done it. We've seen it happen with fuel security and all sorts of things in this country. And politicians just are completely out of touch. We wish you all the best, my friend. We've got to leave it there. But thank you for your time, Colin, this morning. And we hope the season turns around for you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Colin.
We hope so for the people of Great Britain too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Colin.
you very much, mate. Thank
I mean,
you.
we didn't even touch upon inheritance tax changes there, did we? In terms of, I mean, it's just so difficult for farmers. It just seems like there's one thing after another at the moment. And a bad harvest this year, it doesn't help people, does it? Let us know what you think on that one, gbnews.com/yoursay. That's just coming up to 6:30, and it's time for the Great British Giveaway now.
Something nice, something good, something positive, something that
smile
can
about.
just change your whole life, and here's how.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
And that brings us to the the travel news. The travel news. Yes, if you're going out and about, here's what the roads are doing.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Expect significant travel disruptions today. The M9 westbound at junction 10 off slip remains closed for overnight roadworks, with diversions. On the A465 eastbound in Gleneath, the on-slip is closed due to roadworks and diversions are advised. In Buckinghamshire, the M40 northbound has a collision between junctions 3 and 4, with one of 3 lanes shut. On the M20 westbound in Kent, a broken-down vehicle between junctions 4 and 2 has closed one of 4 lanes. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Northern face disruptions in the Wigan northwestern area, with buses replacing trains. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact this chap made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
And Aidan McGee, we're going to talk football straight away. Transfer news dominating Alexander Isak at Newcastle. Well, he's creating the headlines, all the headlines in the back pages today.
Absolutely. I mean, look, there was a PFA event last night in Manchester. Everyone was wondering, given that he'd been named in the Team of the Year, why he wasn't there. So he put out a statement on Instagram. He hasn't spoken at all over the summer since this saga started. Don't forget, it's 19 days since Liverpool made their bid of £110 million for the player. We knew there was interest before that as well. So this has been going on. This is a proper saga as we would understand it. So he put a statement out last night clarifying his position, apologising for not being at the event. And this is what he said. I've got a précis in front of me. He said, "I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading." And finally, he says, "When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship cannot continue." Now,
oh, shut up.
Me?
You know,
or him?
no, him. You know, the point is that Newcastle gave him the break. Who the hell was he before this?
Well, I
nobody.
don't recall many clubs being in for him,
yeah,
quite frankly, and they've made him what he is. He signed the contract as well, 6 years, 130 grand a week. If there were promises made, and if there were guarantees made by the club, and if there were handshakes, well, not good enough in the modern age. These contracts are about 30 or 40 pages long. They have the greatest minds in football looking over them, whether that be legal minds or CEOs or agents or players themselves, going through everything, all the detail with a fine-tooth comb. A handshake is not enough in the modern era when we're talking about hundreds of £1 million.
But is him protesting the way is that enough? Does that mean, can he go back? Will people at Newcastle accept, will the fans accept it at St James's Park, or is he a Liverpool player really not?
Look, to be honest with you, we can look at the example of Carlos Tevez in 2011-12. He was castigated by Manchester City. He refused to come onto the pitch at Bayern Munich for the Champions League. I was at his house next day trying to find him with a camera. But anyway, he got back in the team later in the year, helped them to win the title. So it's not impossible for a player to reintegrate into a squad. I just don't know if this time he's gone too far. The bottom line is that digging your heels in, as Newcastle are minded to do, is very admirable. It looks like a courageous stance, but it doesn't work in modern football. I fancy that Liverpool will go back with a slightly improved bid, maybe increasing it from 110 to 120, slightly close to that 150 valuation, and maybe they'll add on another £10 million, £15 million in add-ons, so performance-related bonuses paid over the next.
So you reckon
2 years.
He's going to go?
I think he's going to go. Yeah, he has to in modern football. Liverpool they're not going to be feeling guilty. They lost Trent Alexander for a paltry fee this summer. They go back all the way back to 1999 when they lost.
But they're buying well. They're strengthening their team. They're still my favourites for the title.
If this goes through, and it's got 10, 11 days for it to happen, their spending will surpass £400 million, which is absolutely extraordinary in one window.
Aidan, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you again later. Still to come.
Penny Smith and Claire Muldoon will be here to take us through all of today's top stories in the papers. Morning, ladies. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast across Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
For anyone heading further afield for a break over the next few days, it is going to be hot for southern parts of Spain, thundery through central Mediterranean and fairly breezy through Greece, especially around the islands, but less hot here compared with last week. Some hot sunshine in the south of Italy, very thundery through central and northern Italy, Croatia, the Alps as well. Plenty of fine weather for Iberia, staying breezy through the Canaries, and it stays similar across central Med through the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
This is going to be a concern for some people, but the government points to data, very, very clear data, that shows the risk of accident shoots well up over the age of 70.
Good afternoon. Yes, I've had a look at that data today as well, and you're right. It shows that while accidents involving young people, serious accidents, have gone down in recent years, those involving older people have actually gone up a little bit. And I think the problem at the moment is we don't really know why that is and what's behind that. But if you look at what is published, the statistics and the views of the police, it doesn't actually suggest that problems with people's eyes are the main contributor. So it may or may not be a good idea to have a mandatory eye test for motorists. Actually, we'd probably say not just for older people, but for everybody. But it's not clear that that would really impact very significantly on the number of accidents. I think the reason 70 may have been chosen is because that's the age at which you have to renew your driving licence. But is that the right age? Should that be 75? As you say, in a way, ageing is changing over time, and a lot of people are very fit and well at 70 and at 75. So I think it does run the risk of looking ageist to just be suggesting that it's people over 70 who should have an eye test, because, of course, we can develop eye problems at any time in our lives.
I suppose there is the argument, though, you're more likely to the older you get. And the point at which this kicks in is always going to be debated. For me, I think one of the bigger issues is access and availability. If this is going to be a massive waiting list for people that actually stops them accessing their own vehicles, this is going to be a big present problem.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Anyway, and I couldn't get a word in edgeways. And she's here this morning. She's here this morning, back again with the newspaper review. My favourite, Penny Smith.
You are so naughty.
Today. So Penny was hosting while you were away. And here she is on the papers.
And I thought she just said something very lovely in the break, Penny, when I said, what was it like working with Eamonn again? And you said...
It's like putting on an old pair of slippers.
Oh.
But in a good way.
It's cosy and comfortable.
Cozy, comfy.
Familiar. Very
and Claire Muldoon is here as well. And talking about terms, and you describing me as a pair of slippers, whatever. The Times... I think that's cute. The Times have a story today, Penny.
Yeah.
And it's saying that a London council has advised staff not to use terms like husband and wife because they could offend.
Oh, this is when you can't help but roll your eyes. I know that it's about being inclusive and it's about people who are partners or spouses or whatever else. But I just think, are people offended when maybe they're not married or whatever else? Does anybody really go, I find that very offensive that you have called that my partner the husband or the wife or whatever. I don't think they do. This is the Royal Borough of Greenwich, which is south-east London. Of course, has Greenwich Meantime, lovely park.
Lovely, yeah.
Lovely park.
Lovely views.
And it says you've got spouse or partner instead of offending anyone who does not identify as a man or a woman. Again, I just think that this is... There are some things where I think, yeah, perhaps asking for somebody's Christian name... even that, I just think, would people be offended? But I think we've kind of got into the habit, or most people, I would say, in this country have got into the habit of saying, what's your first name? I haven't used the word, what's your Christian name, for an awful long time. I think you say first name. Totally understand that. But husband and wife, I mean, you're newly married. If you, before, would you object?
I agree with you, even if you're not married. I mean, you listen to the term, you don't care. You just think, yeah, we understand what you mean, you're together.
Yes. Yeah, you're just there.
Well, I'm new to it, and I really like being referred to as wife, and I'm using the word husband
all
for
the
first
time,
which I'm really enjoying.
Are you doing it at every moment that you can? Oh, yeah, no.
I haven't done it a lot, actually, but when I was in the shop the other day, Gerard was at work, so I had to ring him. I said, give me a second, I'm just going to ring my husband. And I thought, oh, it feels very grown up.
Did you?
I really like it.
It's part aspirational, I think, as well. When people save up, and goodness knows, we've been through your planning for the past year, Ellie.
You're 19 months, Claire, let's not forget.
Gosh, yes, let's not forget. Every week we've had the update, but it's lovely and it's aspirational, and lots of people, I think, especially now, if there's the nuance that it might be offensive, then people take offence. But it's not. It's factual. There's husbands, and don't forget the gay community. Homosexual men love the fact they've got gay marriage now, and they call each other husbands. So it
husband
is,
and husband.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. And even if you're not
talking about what is factual, you were on at the top of the programme when we're talking about the Asylum Hotel in Epping, the Bell Hotel, and it's a victory for people in that area. We've had huge feedback, and we're going to keep on reflecting that throughout the programme today. But people are agreeing with what you are saying on this.
OK. So, but the really important thing to tease out here for everyone watching and listening is the fact that this Bell Hotel in Epping District Council, the ward of, got the temporary suspension of housing illegal immigrants because the lease, the contract they had with the council was the fact that it had to be a hotel, not for housing immigrants. That is the key legal point here, and that is what the council won on yesterday. And Chris Whitbread...
It's change of use, isn't it?
It's they changed the use. So whilst the judge said there was nothing surreptitious, nothing duplicitous done, the fact was they did not house these people legally, and that is the key. So everyone else around the world, around the country, Farage et al., for the 12 local councils that Reform are leading, they need to be very wary of sending sound bites out to say, we're challenging this the same way Epping Forest Council did. It will not work unless the legal framework is there to do it.
It was a technicality,
Yes.
Claire, our favourite story this morning, we think, is the Telegraph front page. The Pope is to live with his pals in the Papal Palace.
Well, you made a beautiful comment. You said he's opening up a frat house, isn't he?
It's a frat house. He's inviting the bros over.
So the Papal community, the Papal flat in Vatican City has got 10 bedrooms in it. It's the 3rd floor. And Pope Francis did not famously live in that flat, which was very, very sad because a lot of people work in those flats to keep them up. And, of course, he took that labour away because he wasn't living there. So now Pope Leo has moved in, and he's moving in his bros. And it's a whole new word for PayPal, in my view, actually. I think it's a great, great result. I think it's wonderful that it's happening. It's keeping everything close to hand. His Peruvian private secretary will be moving in as well. And I hopefully that the lines of communication, the lines for change, will actually be quicker, be easier, and actually better in the long run for the Catholic Church.
I just think we're all imagining them all in their robes, aren't we? Just sipping tea and breaking out the chocolate biscuits.
And watching the football.
Well, can you imagine the chat over supper, you know? Any of the bitching that would go on? Oh, did you see him or did you hear her? Oh, my goodness me.
Look at the rakish way he was wearing his hat.
I want to know how he chose his friends. Apparently, according to the Telegraph, he's only chosen 3 or 4 of his brethren to live with him. So how are they chosen?
Well, it is down to who he wants close to him and who he trusts.
His best.
It's going to be interesting to see who he chooses.
And the aligning
Isn't it,
of
when
them.
they go in. Yeah.
Which is great.
Well, it's great. Maybe we all have a trusted confidant in life. Pope, which one?
Francis, Benedict?
No, before him.
JP2.
John Paul.
John Paul II. Had
The
a
best one.
very, very close friend that he used to listen to what she had to say about various things and whatever as well. And maybe you have somebody like that in life that you trust, whose advice you trust, and whose company you like to have as well. But I would like to meet the Pope, I would, and I think the fact that he's American, was he Canadian or American?
He's American.
From Chicago, isn't he?
Speaks English, fluently and whatever. I think he would be.
You need to get an audience booked in.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that.
No, I know you can.
Yeah.
I think you should get one booked in.
Well, you might.
You could be one of the brethren.
Yes, just
you
what I was thinking.
Frat house.
Which biscuits would you take as your kind of gift? Because I presume
Club Orange biscuits.
Oh, that's the worst.
Really?
That's the worst choice.
Oh no,
disgusting choice.
Why would you not like Club Orange biscuits?
I just don't like because they're not dunking biscuits, are they? I mean, if you have a cup of tea, then it has to be something.
So stupid.
Well, you have to do
If you want
ginger.
a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, join a club.
Yeah, but that doesn't say about the dunking part. And dunking with the chocolate biscuit is just unpleasant because then
it's
you
not
get a
real
film on the
chocolate on clubs.
No, but it's not
real
it's not that.
chocolate.
You need ginger nuts.
You need a custard cream or a bourbon. That's the way.
Right, Penny. What do we need? What do we need to talk about?
Oh, I think may I talk about the comforts that we miss on holiday?
I like the story.
Because they're saying that 1 in 5 of us has even been tempted to cut a break short just to get back to our home comforts, and something like 52% said coming home is one of the best things about going away.
I agree with that.
And I think most
the homecoming.
Oh,
the
it
best
is so
bit of going
good.
away is coming home.
And they're saying they miss pets. I agree. Sleeping in their own beds is number 1.
That's me.
Yeah. Family routines. Oh, family routines. No, don't want that. And friends. But also, people take their own tea. I know that's pretty standard. My sister always takes her own tea. And then a quarter took their own towels away. Odd. And 8% took pillows. Now, I'm assuming this is pillows if you're going locally, because let's
These
face
pillows
it.
that you blow up. You know. How are you going to pack a pillow?
No, but I presume if you're going to on an Airbnb or whatever, then, stuffing a pillow in there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've never been that bothered about my...
I don't know why anyone would pack a towel. You think the towels are nicer in a hotel? They're fluffier, aren't they?
And not only that, but they're going to clean them.
Yeah.
So there's no bother.
I do quite enjoy that about a hotel, that you can just pop them on the floor and they're replaced.
Pop them on the floor.
Doesn't happen like that.
Chuck.
Chuck them. And they're replaced. It's lovely.
And then do you say to your husband, could you pick up the towels, please?
Yeah.
Husband,
yeah.
Did you find
chance to get?
Do you find my husband and I would like to make more mess of the towels?
I am enjoying saying it.
Some of Britain's leading cultural institutions, including the National Trust, have warned the Prime Minister they face being crippled by new consumer rights rules. Tell us more, Penny. This is the Times.
So this is a staggering story. So this is about these consumer rights rules, which mean that you have a 2-week cooling off period. So what you do is you go and buy for a membership, and you could buy it on the Saturday morning, they're saying, for example, for 120 quid. This is the one of the more sort of expensive things. So you do 120
the annual ones
quid.
as opposed to the...
Yeah, so you get the membership one, which gives you access to everything. And then you could go and do all the exhibitions. This is a Tate one, so 120 quid, get into all these things, and then 2 weeks later, you cancel it. So you've seen all these things for free, and you get your money back.
Yeah.
And, of course, that is a huge loss of revenue for these places, many of which are struggling already because of people tightening their belts. And, of course, the first thing that goes when you're going, I don't know whether we can afford this, you just go, I'll tell you what, let's just not have that, let's not have that. Memberships are often, because they're quite expensive, you just go, I just don't think we can do that. And they're saying it could spell, it could cripple, they're saying, arts and heritage.
OK. Meanwhile, we go back to the shopping situation and on the high street. High streets are dying. They're dying everywhere.
Yeah.
They're being
Been
closed
dying for
up.
years.
Yeah, dying for years. And those that do exist are being hit by record crime waves.
Yeah, I mean, are we really surprised? But these headlines have been dominating the front pages and indeed the centre pages for months, if not years, in this country. I think it started when a lot of the tills moved to self-service.
Yeah.
You've got people walking into shops now with gay abandon, and they're not doing doing it because they're in poverty. They're not doing it because they're impoverished. They're doing it because either they're high or just because they can.
Well, and because and quite a lot of them, as I understand it, they're even selling. They're doing it to order.
Well, that's what they would do. You know, they walk in to do it because
criminal
they can.
gangs, isn't it? Yeah.
But you know, we've been told that security guards standing at the front door, greeting them, will put them off. Well, the number of languages now covered in this country, they'll be standing there for an awful long time, greeting people, would they not? And then, moreover, we've also been told in the public to stop them ourselves.
OK, terrible situation. Penny and Claire, thank you. We'll see you again when I go in to see the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's certainly a cloudy start for many parts of the UK, but increasingly sunny weather is on the way from the east. However, it's going to feel cool in the breeze. The reason for the cloud breaking up is actually lower humidity air arriving from the northeast, and it's that northeasterly breeze that will make things feel cool, especially along the North Sea coast. Nevertheless, the thicker cloud tends to drift southwestwards through the day. It's going to be a slow clearance for the southwest of the country, but elsewhere, skies brightening through the afternoon, sunny spells, warm enough in the sunshine, but like I say, cool in the breeze with the low humidities. Some showers for parts of Shetland, for example, but for most of the UK, it's simply a dry afternoon, much drier for the southwest of England, where we've seen some heavy showers through Tuesday. Across much of the UK then, it's a bright end to the day. Still some patchy cloud here and there, not entirely blue skies. Western parts of Northern Ireland, for example, the Western Isles, as well as parts of the north of Scotland, where we'll continue to see showers into Shetland. But for many places, it is pleasant enough as we end Wednesday. Winds are easing by this stage as well, although still breezy around that north and east coast. Some cloud returns to eastern parts overnight, otherwise it's clear skies, and with that lower humidity air, it's going to be a fairly cool night for sleeping, certainly more comfortable compared with a lot of the nights we've experienced through the summer. Temperatures into the low teens, perhaps even single figures in some spots. But we start Thursday with bright skies, plenty of sunshine, particularly towards Wales, the West Midlands, the southwest, northern Scotland, for example. Some areas of cloud will be back, so not entirely sunny. And with that cloud and, again, that cool breeze, it is going to feel on the cool side. High teens, low 20s, so no heat wave, but pleasant enough with high pressure keeping things largely dry.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Drivers on the A9 at Thatcher should expect longer journey times due to emergency roadworks and temporary traffic lights until December 31st. The A465 eastbound at Glynneath has closed on slip, with diversions in place. In Birmingham, the M6 southbound has a collision between junctions 7 and 6, with normal conditions expected by 7:20 this morning. Kent's M20 westbound has a broken down vehicle closing one lane between junctions 4 and 2, with normal conditions anticipated by 7:09. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Northern report major disruptions in the Wigan northwestern area. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life. Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness.
You've won £54,321.
Please don't joke. This would change my life.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GB News.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it.
Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Good morning. A victory in Epping as the High Court blocks the use of the Bell Hotel for housing migrants.
At the end of the day, we got a point to make, and we've made it, and we would have stayed here to as long as it have ever have taken to have got them out of here. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
Now, those local people see that as a victory. We're getting reaction from you all morning, and we're going to be reflecting that shortly. The Home Office is warning that the ruling could tear up the government's asylum plan. Do you care?
Reform UK calls it a win for local people. Is Britain's asylum system now in freefall? And could this spark a fight back across Britain?
Money in the pockets of working people. Higher living standards promised by this Labour government, delivered by this Labour government.
Do you feel you're getting higher living standards? And is Rachel Reeves on track to keep that promise? New inflation figures, they're going to come out any second now. We'll reflect those to you because they'll decide, for instance, how much your train fares are going to be next year.
Would be about 3 feet higher than it is now, and it would fall to the door. So we've got a very, very reduced amount of grain due to the dry weather.
British farmers were warned they could face one of the worst harvests on record. And now, as the combines roll in, we find out if those fears are becoming a reality.
Sure that vapes are used to get people off smoking as a tool because smoking is very harmful to people's health.
Vaping. A major review finds that children who vape are 3 times more likely to go on and smoke cigarettes. So, are we creating a nicotine generation?
TV veteran John Stapleton will join us to open up about his Parkinson's diagnosis and why he's refusing to slow down.
The relationship cannot continue. Those, the words of Newcastle striker Alexander Isak, who's spoken for the first time of his desire to leave St James's Park with Liverpool, having already made a £110 million offer for the player. We'll look at what it all means later this hour.
If you're stuck under a cloud this morning, I've got some promising news for you. Sunshine is going to return later on for much of the UK. Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
On this Wednesday morning, good to have you on board. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Epping Forest and what's happened there, you guys are right on the ball with this one. Finally, a community standing up for itself. Epping's done what the government wouldn't, and it's about time others followed, says Janet.
Yeah, Mark says, we were told that this would stop. Now we're in 2025 and we're still talking about hotels that are full of migrants. Epping is just the beginning.
If the government can't even manage hotel placements properly, how can we trust them with borders, says Louise. Brian says, good on Epping. Local voices are being ignored, so the courts had to step in. Maybe now Westminster will listen. It's interesting. Who is listening? I think more and more people are listening, and this really is at crisis point, this whole migration situation. And, you know, if you're not going to stop the migrants in the sea or at the ports, where do we put the people, the poor people who are in that hotel, that Bell Hotel in Epping, where do they go now, though? That's the thing.
It becomes another community's problem, doesn't it? It just gets moved around the country, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Migrant camps or RAF bases have been spoken about, haven't they? Or houses multiple occupancy have been mentioned.
Or just
this
stop
morning.
it totally. Stop it totally, however harsh that sounds. How do they do that? Would there be an appetite for that? But Mr. Isaac at Newcastle, he's got no appetite to play for them, has he?
It doesn't look like he made a statement last night, which I went through earlier on. He was explaining why he wasn't at the PFA event in Manchester. By the way, no Manchester players, home players, City or United, mentioned in the Team of the Year last night in the host city. Not good.
Well, I'm not going to argue with that.
But look, I think this is going to reach ahead. I think Liverpool are going to eventually go back in for the player. I predict they'll increase the bid slightly, 120 plus another 10, 15 in add-ons.
He might as well put the red shirt on now. I feel sorry for people at St James's Park, and you know, they had something there, they were doing something, they've got a project, and now it's set back.
Well, yeah, but if you've got these PSR rules, it's not their fault. They have to sell the risk of. Well, they're at the mercy of clubs who want to buy their players. And Liverpool are the Premier League champions. They're going to be one of the favourites for the Champions League and again for the Premier League this time. And it's no surprise, given how much they spend.
And money talks. Money talks, Ian. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks,
so the top story this morning is the Epping Forest situation. But before that, breaking news, Ellie.
Yes, inflation has risen once again, rising to 3.8% in July. That's slightly higher than economists had expected. It's up from 3.6% in June. And the Bank of England is forecasting that inflation will increase further this year and peak at around 4% in September.
That's bigger. I mean, I think these figures today are irrelevant, really, 0.2%. But if they're going to go
to 4,
that's pretty significant, and that's bad news for us all.
Yeah, it is. And the ONS is commenting on this morning, saying the main driver behind this is a hefty increase in airfares, the largest July rise since 2001.
Why would that even be reflected in our lives?
Well, the timing of the school holidays, isn't it? So if the airfares have gone up, then it will be reflected in inflation.
But I think in most people's day-to-day lives, airfares don't play a part. Although I'd have to say, as a commuter between London and Belfast, the fares are absolutely shocking, disgraceful.
Well, you've noticed it then, yeah. And I've
noticed it. I've got to live with it. I mean, you could be paying 250 quid for a single fare. I could get to Brazil for 250 quid. Do you travel much by area?
Not so much lately, but there were periods in my life where I was back and forth all the time. But my dad used to go to Belfast. It was back in 20 years ago, it was like you could easily get a flight for 50 quid.
Well, we've all noticed airfares going up, haven't we? Yes. I mean, it's £200, £300 for a short haul now. But also petrol and diesel have gone up this month, haven't they? And food price inflation as well. Items such as coffee, fresh orange juice, meat and chocolate have seen the biggest rises.
How do people live? How do people even order Deliveroos and all those sort of things, takeaways, just through the roof? The price, certainly in London. Guys, I tell you what, London, don't bother coming to live in London. I mean, you know, I'm an outsider. I live in London. I think to myself, you know, compared to Manchester, compared to Leeds, compared to Glasgow, compared to Belfast.
I always said if you've got a transferable career, it's a job you can do anywhere, go and live in one of the big cities. Go and live in Liverpool or Manchester. I think that'd be the best.
Go and live in Stoke.
Life's a lot more affordable, isn't it, outside of the capital?
It is. London is a complete rip-off in so many ways. But let's get back to this Epping Forest story. And the council have been told by the High Court there's an injunction which will stop asylum seekers from being housed at the Bell Hotel.
Well, the Home Office had warned against it, saying such a ruling could undermine their asylum policies. But the judge disagreed, saying it wasn't right for the Home Secretary to intervene.
Well, now with Epping's victory, other councils are weighing up similar legal action, potentially creating a fresh headache for the government.
Well, joining us now is former government advisor Jennifer Powers. And Jennifer, there are going to be practical and political consequences to what we've seen happen in Epping.
Good morning. Yes, well, communities have been paying the price for successive governments losing control of our borders. And with this High Court injunction, we now see a bit of power passing back to local communities. And I'm sure this will create a domino effect where quite a number of local authorities will be looking to see if they can do the same as Epping.
Goodness me, we are getting some feedback on this morning, and everybody in favour of what the court has ruled in this case. I'm so proud of what Epping's done. Peaceful, legal and effective reform is right. This needs to go national, says Steve, and that sort of reflects the views that are coming in, which we will try and reflect throughout the programme today. But, Jennifer, this couldn't necessarily be repeated around the rest of the country because this has happened for certain reasons, hasn't it?
It has. It's down to planning law. So it's not anything to do with the immigration status of the particular residents of the hotel. It's not because of some national policy. It is down to the Town and Country Planning Order of 1987. And so for once, we see planning, I think in many people's minds, planning law actually doing something they want to see. So the owner of the hotel did not apply for a change of use order. It used to be used for conferences and weddings and whatnot, and the Bell Hotel is now used exclusively to house 138 male asylum seekers. And so this fell foul of planning regulations, but that may well be the case in other jurisdictions. I mean, we've heard already of Broxbourne Council who say that they're exploring whether they can take the same case to the courts. And I'm sure there will be dozens, if not hundreds of other local authorities today looking up the same thing. And this does create a huge headache for the government because where are they going to house asylum seekers? And Ellie, as you rightly say, there are talks about whether they can use abandoned RAF bases or other migrant camps. But that takes time.
In our introduction to you, we talked about former government advisor. If you were advising this government now, what would you be saying as regards immigration and migration and housing migrants around the country?
Well, I'd be saying we need to change the incentives because at the moment, the UK continues to be a hugely attractive place to claim asylum. And because of that, because of the ability of these not always asylum seekers, but these economic refugees to work, to become Deliveroo drivers, for instance, to be put up, to be given discounts in some cases for some local amenities, it is still hugely attractive. And so until we change the incentives, people will continue to come. So I would say the government really needs to get its act together and pull together a package which changes those incentives. And in terms of the housing policy, well, I think it just needs to be more ambitious. It needs to recognize that local communities don't want their local hotels taken over to house illegal immigrants, and that the government will need to think of maybe an offshore or somewhere more remote and more secure where asylum seekers can be housed.
What do you think the decision in Epping is going to mean for people across Britain who have legitimate concerns about what's happening in their community, and they've seen mums and dads take to the streets in Epping, and they've seen the High Court rule in their favour in Epping? Do you think this means that we're going to see more demonstrations?
Yes, I think it will be an encouragement. I mean, so often we protest and nothing happens on a whole variety of issues. I mean, I think back to the Iraq War, and there was the largest ever protest in British history, so some say, and that didn't stop the Iraq War going forward. But these protests in Epping and in other local communities around the country have made a difference. They've caused the council to go back to square one, be creative, and find a reason why this housing policy was not lawful. So I do think it will encourage other communities.
And what do you think it will mean for the asylum hotel system that this government relies on? I mean, what does this mean for the whole model?
Well, indeed, I think there will be a lot of owners of these hotels who have perhaps understandably taken on the bookings from the government. It's provided them with a very steady income over many months and years. And they'll be, holding their breath to see what happens with their properties around the country. But I think similarly, a lot of communities within which these hotels reside will be thinking, well, gosh, what would happen if we went down and peacefully protested? Would our council make the effort to get legal advice and take this case to court? Could we maybe reclaim that hotel for local use? So I think it will be a huge encouragement.
Well, that's the question everywhere. Jennifer, really appreciate your take on things. Thank you very much indeed. Just again, going back to reflecting what you guys at home are saying and thinking. Harry says, Epping's fight is now every town's fight. Cheryl says, imagine how much money's been spent on lawyers, chaos, other hotels. Meanwhile, crime is up. The NHS is stretched, says Cheryl. Epping's just put immigration back at the top of the agenda, says Tom. The government's got a big problem on its hands. And I would say, Ellie, this is not going to end here. This really has changed things. It's given people a lot of confidence, as Jennifer was saying there, to go and protest. If it's happened in Epping, they can change it in their local community. Now, I think that's what people are thinking. Thank you for letting us know what you're thinking as well. We will reflect that throughout the programme today.
OK, let's get a check on the weather now, shall we, with Aidan McGibbon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's certainly a cloudy start for many parts of the UK, but increasingly sunny weather is on the way from the east. However, it's going to feel cool in the breeze. The reason for the cloud breaking up is actually lower humidity air arriving from the northeast, and it's that northeasterly breeze that will make things feel cool, especially along the North Sea coast. Nevertheless, the thicker cloud tends to drift southwestwards through the day. It's going to be a slow clearance for the southwest of the country, but elsewhere, skies brightening through the afternoon, sunny spells, warm enough in the sunshine, but like I say, cool in the breeze with the low humidities. Some showers for parts of Shetland, for example, but for most of the UK, it's simply a dry afternoon, much drier for the southwest of England, where we've seen some heavy showers through Tuesday. Across much of the UK then, it's a bright end to the day. Still some patchy cloud here and there, not entirely blue skies. Western parts of Northern Ireland, for example, the Western Isles, as well as parts of the north of Scotland, where we'll continue to see showers into Shetland. But for many places, it is pleasant enough as we end Wednesday. Winds are easing by this stage as well, although still breezy around that north and east coast. Some cloud returns to eastern parts overnight. Otherwise, it's clear skies. And with that lower humidity air, it's going to be a fairly cool night for sleeping, certainly more comfortable compared with a lot of the nights we've experienced through the summer. Temperatures into the low teens, perhaps even single figures in some spots. But we start Thursday with bright skies, plenty of sunshine, particularly towards Wales, the West Midlands, the southwest, northern Scotland, for example. Some areas of cloud will be back, so not entirely sunny. And with that cloud and, again, that cool breeze, it is going to feel on the cool side. High teens, low 20s, so no heat wave, but pleasant enough with high pressure keeping things largely dry.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now it's time for the Great British Giveaway now, and just 2 weeks left to see how you could be mortgage-free or rent-free for a whole year, and you get £5,000 in cash as well.
OK, and a £15,000 tax-free cash lump sum could be heading your way, and here's how.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 20th 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right. We're going to talk about vaping next.
A lot of vapors out there.
Yeah. Maybe you do it. Do you think you're addicted to it? Maybe you're doing it to stay off ciggies. But the theory is now, science says now, that it creates a new generation of smokers. So if you vape, all it's doing is leading you to a fag. Next.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Now, when you wake up in the morning, do you itch for a vape?
Do you reach out for your vape?
Yeah, that's what
Cherry
you do.
flavoured.
Well, a lot of people say it calms them down. It's a tool to help them quit smoking. But is vaping now hooking a whole new generation of people who don't smoke but will smoke because they vape?
Well, a major review of nearly 400 studies show that children who vape are then 3 times more likely to go on to pick up cigarettes.
See, but what is this? Children who vape? You're saying 10-year-olds?
No, like
or
teenagers.
Teenagers. And...
Because you can get them in corner shops, can't you? And they look really pretty. They've usually got nice flavours and nice smells.
Okay.
You can see why they would be attractive to teenagers to start vaping, and then it suggests they go on to smoke.
Okay, right. Well, joining us now, who have we got? We've got John Dunn. Yes, I know John. John's Director General of UK Vaping Industry Association. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Eamonn.
Hiya. And then also, who else have we got there?
Well, the NHS
David Lloyd,
GP,
Dr. David Lloyd.
Dr. David Lloyd.
Yeah. Dr. David Lloyd. The smoking situation, we thought vaping came along and we thought, oh, that's calming the smoking situation down and everybody's health is going to be better and kids won't be doing this anymore. What's your experience?
Well, I think some people thought that, but I think a lot of doctors had severe suspicions about vaping, and it's turned out to be true. This is just cigarette advertising 2.0. They're using the same tricks that the tobacco industry used years ago to introduce a nicotine delivery vehicle, which is addicting, making our teenagers addicted to nicotine and then going on to become smokers.
Well, John, I know that wouldn't be your intention. I mean, the vaping industry is what you care about, not the smoking industry. But are you now worried by what you're hearing?
No, what I care about is smokers doing something better for their health. And whether you like these products or not, they are the most successful way that smokers are giving up smoking in this country. They're twice as successful as all of the other methods combined. And this isn't new evidence. This is just a review of weak studies, most of which the authors themselves admit are based on low or critically low quality. You know, correlation does not prove causation. But yes, we absolutely have to be careful of young people getting a hold of these products. We've got to make sure that retailers are selling these products in a responsible way. And that's one of the reasons why we've been calling for licensing of these products so that the retailers that are selling these products are licensed. And we've also called for massive fines on people that are caught selling these products to young people. Because absolutely, we don't want anybody who hasn't previously smoked to be using these products at all, whether they're an adult or a young person.
But can't you see, John, from Dr. David's point, that it is an addictive substance, isn't it? So once those teenagers are vaping, they're addicted to nicotine, and that will inevitably lead to wanting to get more and more and eventually potentially lead to smoking.
Absolutely. That's why we need to do everything to encourage them not to try these products. But young people are going to experiment with products that are not good for them. And that's what a lot of these studies actually show, is that young people that have a propensity to try risky products like vaping or smoking or drinking or drugs are more likely to do it. But what we've got to make sure is that we're educating young people that these products are not 100% safe. There are risks involved in using them. But for smokers, they're far less riskier product to use than a cigarette that's going to kill 1 out of every 2 users if the product is used as intended.
OK, well, let's see what the doctor thinks of what you've had to say, John. Doc.
So vaping isn't the way out of smoking. It's the way in, and it's damaging young children's lives. It's making them addicted to nicotine, which is a drug which rots their brains. It makes them ferociously addicted to any drug, any situation that they're on. And the vaping industry is making billions out of our young teenagers. It's the same playbook that tobacco used. He talks about observational studies and how they're poorly researched, but that's how we discovered that smoking was a danger. It was a few doctors observing that patients dying on their ward of lung cancer and lung disease spotted that there was a link. It was many years before the basic research actually underlined that. These are the warning signs we got 100 years ago about smoking. Please, let's not make this mistake again. It is a dangerous drug, and it is making our children addicted to nicotine.
John?
Well, it's very interesting that, Public Health England, the Royal College of Physicians, Cancer Research UK would disagree with you. It's very interesting.
I hope they change their mind after this research.
Let me finish, Dr. Lloyd, because you've had your say. If you go on their website, one of the first things they put under the vaping myths is the gateway effect. We've got the lowest smoking rates here in adults that we've seen in many, many years. We've got the lowest smoking rates in young people that we've seen in many, many years. And this is the same in almost every single country.
But the science is saying there, John, that that's not going to stay that way.
But we've had these products, Eamonn, for 20 years. When is it going to actually appear? Because it hasn't appeared yet.
OK. Final word to you, Doctor.
I think this is the standard industry response to a bit of science that's just come in, which is exactly it was with nicotine and smoking. We are dealing with a deadly drug here, and we legalize it, and it's ridiculous. And I hope, as he rightly says, I hope that Public Health England and other august bodies are going to change their advice, because this is something that is hooking our teenagers. And we made the same mistake with cigarettes, waiting for the perfect proof while millions got sick. We just shouldn't repeat that with vaping.
Dr. David Lloyd, really appreciate your take. John, always interesting to hear from you and what you have to say in defence of all of that. We'll leave it there. Thank you, gentlemen, both of you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, let us know what you think on that one. gbnews.com/you will say. You will definitely have a view on that one.
Well, here's my view, right? I thank God that I don't smoke and I have no interest in smoking. But I can understand people who are addicted to it and who are drawn towards it. I don't vape. I think vape is not so same idea. But the thing I notice about vaping is people look anxious when they do it.
Yes.
They disguise it, right? So they put it in their hand like this so they can't see it, and they're walking along and they're on their phone or whatever, and they're
furiously vaping, yes.
And they're anxious. They're not sitting laying back.
Different to cigarettes in that way,
relaxed or whatever.
Yeah.
They're very
I think you're right on that one. Yeah.
Watch them at bus stops or watch them walking along the street or whatever it is. They're hiding it, they're embarrassed about it, and they're
I think it's a comfort thing as well, a vape. I think people who do vape, the ones I know at least, have always got it in their hand.
Yeah.
With them at all times. Wake up in the morning, first thing they do is vape. Let us know if that's a thing.
And they're a small step away from that becoming something stronger, be it a cigarette.
Being a cigarette,
okay.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to get reaction from those inflation figures. We've got the Shadow Chancellor, Shadow what?
Exchequer to the Treasury, James Wild. He's talking to us after this short
James
break.
Wild, right after this. Don't go away.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A465 eastbound near Glynneath, ongoing roadworks are causing diversions with the on-slip currently closed. Motorists are advised to plan their journeys carefully to avoid any significant delays. Meanwhile, on Northamptonshire's A14 westbound, a broken-down vehicle at Junction 2 near Kelmarsh has resulted in necessary lane closures, impacting the normal traffic flow. Additionally, on the trains, there is major disruption with Avanti West Coast services at the Wigan northwestern area. Northern services face significant delays, with buses replacing trains between Sellafield and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Just reminding you of the inflation news this morning. Inflation has risen to 3.8% in July. That is slightly higher, 0.1% higher than economists expected, up from 3.6 in June, yeah?
Yep, and the Bank of England is forecasting that inflation is going to increase further this year and peak at around 4% in September.
Now, that's serious. I think that's really worrying. They think it'll then ease over the next 2 years.
Yeah,
Goodness
but 4%
me.
in September.
What is going to... I mean, on top of everything else, and we were complaining about the price of everything. That's the way it goes.
Well, the ONS was responding to those figures this morning, and they were saying that a large part of this is actually down to a hefty increase in airfares. So, of course, it's July, isn't it? Lots of families going away on their summer holidays. Airfares are very expensive. Of course, the school holidays. Also, the price of petrol and diesel increased this month, and food prices as well.
I'll tell you what
we've all noticed.
Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go to Norfolk now, and there we have the Shadow Treasury Minister, James Wilde. James, good morning. Thanks for your time this morning. Just looking for your reaction on these inflation figures and the prediction for the rest of the year, 4%.
Well, these are disappointing figures. It's going to cause further pain for hard-working families, and unfortunately, it's due to the mismanagement and decisions the Chancellor took in the autumn last year. You can't hit businesses with £40 billion of higher taxes and not see that feed through into higher prices. They simply can't absorb it. So prices are rising, holidays are more expensive, your water bill, your council tax, all of those bills are going up. And unfortunately, the mismanagement from Labour is causing a lot of the pressure that we're seeing here. And
James,
we're going to see...
Could I ask you about that mismanagement? And forgive the simplicity of the question I'm going to ask you, but why does the government need to be using the next round they're talking about in October? Why do they need to raise money is what I'm trying to say here. When you look and you say in every direction, every citizen of the land is being clobbered with tax. Our tax burden is just ridiculous. Why does it need to be heavier?
Well, the Chancellor has undertaken a huge amount of increased spending. It's going to be £500 billion, £500 billion extra over this Parliament than the plans they inherited. A lot of that is being funded by borrowing. And what we're seeing is because of the rules the Chancellor set, she's going to have a gap that could be up to £50 billion. Some people are predicting that she has to fulfil in order to not break the rules. And she said they're ironclad rules. So that leaves her in a straitjacket. We've already seen when she put up taxes last time, that affected growth. It's now affecting inflation. We're in a sort of a doom loop here where she keeps having to raise taxes. She's borrowing more money, and then we see that hit in growth. She's on the wrong track here, and that's largely because she doesn't understand enterprise, doesn't understand the hardworking people, the backbone of Britain, who are going out working every day, and she's whacking them with taxes. And now we hear there might well be a family home tax coming down the track for the first time, bringing that into capital gains tax. That could hit the average family £15,000 by selling their home. That is a situation that Keir Starmer ruled out in the election, but now we see Labour floating these ideas, and it's incredibly damaging to have all this speculation about what's going to come, and people are fearful they're going to be hit with more taxes in the autumn.
Can I ask you about our top story today, which is the Bell Hotel in Epping and that High Court injunction which has blocked asylum seekers from being housed there. What's your response to that injunction, and do you think this could become now a national thing?
Well, this is a welcome ruling. It's a Conservative local authority council who's acted on behalf of their local community. You've got legitimate concerns about the impact of this hotel being used not as a hotel but as a place for illegal immigrants. We saw a previous ruling in Great Yarmouth, again a Conservative authority, that took action there. So there is real questions about the government's policy, but they've only got themselves to blame. They came into office saying we're going to close all these illegal immigrant hotels. In fact, the number of illegal immigrants in them has gone up, and that's because on day one they scrapped the deterrent. So we've seen 50,000 people come in the last year alone, 25,000 people already this year, record numbers, and communities are worried, and that's perfectly legitimate. And so the government's going to have to respond to this and work out what they're going to do about this situation that they have largely created.
I know, unbelievable. And you know, James, there's so many associated and affiliated costs with housing these poor people that are not made public, and I mean medical costs and social care and all sorts of things that go on in this, that I just hear from people I know and people who work here and people who are chiropodists and all sorts of things like that. Unbelievable if people knew the half of it. But here's what I want to ask you, right? So we're getting back to Rachel Reeves and what she does, and she's taxing jobs and the hospitality industry, whatever we're saying. We can't get staff. We can't get people to work as waiters. We can't get people to work in bars. We can't afford all these things, and you've reflected all that this morning. James, what I want to ask you is, what would you do? What would you do if you looked at the economy at the moment and you say, look, we need to save money. Here's what I would do. Here's what I would scrap. For instance, our audience, they cannot stand foreign aid budget. They cannot stand that we give money around the rest of the world. I'm not saying that you have to agree with that or whatever, but what would you do? Is there a way to get the borrowing down?
Well, the first thing that we said, and we said this at the election, would have implemented, is to go after the welfare budget. Spending on health and sickness benefits is going to hit £100 billion by the end of this Parliament. We had a plan to bring down that by £12 billion a year of savings. That's an important step to make. We wouldn't have signed up to this crazy deal whereby we're giving away one of our military bases and then paying £35 billion to be able to use it again. So there's a number of decisions that the government have taken, and they've increased spending massively. They're increasing spending by £70 billion a year more than the plans that they inherited from the last government. They didn't have a manifesto commitment to do that. We've got to live within our means as a country. We've got to get serious. We can't afford to be spending and borrowing so much. You can see the costs of borrowing money is because the markets don't have confidence in this government and this approach. And that means the cost is going up. So every year we're now going to be spending £130 billion by the end of this Parliament just on paying off the debt. That would be the third biggest spending department in the country. I think that's quite a striking position that we're in. So we need to be real about the changes that we need to make, the way that the state operates, and bearing down on spending and focusing on the productive side of the economy, not hammering businesses, not hammering enterprise, not hitting people with a family home tax, or not freezing the income tax threshold even further. All of those things are on the agenda, and that's creating damaging uncertainty ahead of the autumn budget.
OK, James Wild, we're out of time with you this morning, but thank you very much for joining us on Breakfast.
Thank you very much indeed. James was just saying the government needs to be real. They need to be real. How do you think the government should be real, and how would that be reflected? Being real with their views of what's happening in the papers today, Penny Smith and Claire Muldoon, they'll be joining us to see what has got them talking. And before all of that, where's the holiday sun? Let's have a look.
Can't wait to get in that sea. Lovely and warm. Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
For anyone heading further afield for a break over the next few days, it is going to be hot for southern parts of Spain, thundery through central Mediterranean, and fairly breezy through Greece, especially around the islands, but less hot here compared with last week. Some hot sunshine in the south of Italy, very thundery through central and northern Italy, Croatia, the Alps as well. Plenty of fine weather for Iberia, staying breezy through the Canaries, and it stays similar across central Med through the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
and that is the sort of rumblings over who on earth is going to be chosen to be godfather to the Duke of Westminster's new child, Cosima. Now, Hugh Grosvenor, of course, friends with both Prince William and Prince Harry for the longest time. He is godfather to one of each of their children. He's now got a sort of a difficult choice to make.
Yes, he has. I mean, he is godfather to Prince George, and we believe he's godfather to Prince Archie, although the Sussexes have never declared who the godparents are. In that situation, you got William was at the wedding. He was an usher at the wedding, so he had a job to do. Harry declined to turn up and had told Hugh Grosvenor that he wasn't coming, because of the friction it could have caused with him and his brother. That friction would still be there if he invited both of them to be godparents. It's going to be interesting to see how we get this one sorted. You would expect William will be definitely a godfather. I think Hugh would like to have Harry as a godfather because, that's what you do. If you have a godfather from someone, then you will reciprocate.
Do we know when the last time Prince Harry and Prince William actually met was? I mean, this feud runs deep.
They certainly met at the unveiling of the Diana Memorial in the garden, and they were there. But then there was an attempt. I think it was, I can't remember, sometime after. It was either the Queen's funeral or someone else, maybe Prince Philip's funeral, where there was attempts to try to get them to talk together.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. Let's take a look at some of the newspaper front pages at 7:45.
Telegraph leading with migrant hotels across the country being at risk of closure after the High Court ruling throws the government's asylum plans into turmoil. Big talking point for us today with you, which is great. Beautiful picture there, Ellie. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is the tennis players, Carlos Alcaraz and Emma Raducanu. Are they a couple?
You think they are?
I think so. Wouldn't you say, based on that picture? He's got his arm around her there, looking very cosy.
Mm-hmm. OK.
I think so.
Who would blame them?
The Daily Mail also leads with Labour's migrant hotels policy being in disarray after the Bell Hotel in Epping was ordered to shut down by the High Court.
Daily Mirror, Donald Trump declaring Britain and Europe be the ones to send troops to Ukraine to help peace if a deal with Russia is struck. Penny and Claire back again with us with their comments on things that are making stories in the papers today. And Penny, where do you stand on the Epping ruling about the asylum hotel closure?
Well, it's that thing about the fact that this is just it is a one-off. It's about a change of use. So everybody jumping up and down saying, right, we're all going to blanket go and do this then. It isn't the same. This is 100% about a legal technicality. And it's so interesting how everybody's just kind of going, right, that's what we're going to do.
The thing is, Penny, I think people want hope. I think you're right, absolutely, legally, whether they have it, but they think, oh, my goodness, this is going to work for us. But as you're saying, not necessarily.
No, it isn't. And also, we've got to find different ways of actually housing the asylum seekers who come over here. I mean, we have to keep reminding ourselves that what they have left at home is more terrifying than all the...
in not all cases, Penny.
Not in all cases, no, because some of them do. No, but I'm saying that to actually have got to the state of actually piling on to a boat that's hardly fit for purpose on the job,
because there's human trafficking
which they've paid for because there's human trafficking involved. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying so they've got here. So I'm saying there they are. They just want somewhere to go and stay.
But they can go home.
Because a lot
well,
of Penny, a lot of people, a lot of these lads, because they are predominantly male, are coming over. They're not fleeing persecution, and they're not fleeing.
And those are the ones that have to go back. But you have to actually sort them out.
Coming over.
Well, it's not only that, is it? That's
mostly,
the problem.
Vast majority of.
They're mixed in. Also, you have to sort of, you know, there was a statistic in one of the papers today about the fact that it was something like we've got this vast, huge, I mean, you know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of legal migrants, and then you've got this
30,000 asylum.
30,000. Yeah, exactly. Which is less than 5% of the migration that we have. We have to sort of put that, get things into a bit more of perspective first of all. And we've got, in some ways, there will be many people who are saying, do we have to put all asylum seekers into one place? You know, because it just means that it's, of course, it's always going to attract this because
it's centred around the southeast of the country, isn't it? Because that's, of course, where they're
coming in.
But then it becomes a nationwide problem, doesn't it? I mean, even with the Epping decision, if those asylum seekers need to be moved in the next 2 to 3 weeks, which is what the
High Court is saying,
still got
to find somewhere
for them.
It
just needs to be moved. They just need to be moved.
Displacement.
Yes.
Yes, whatever it is, they're just going to get moved out. And there has to be. I mean, obviously, greater brains than mine are sort of grappling with this problem, but something's got to be sorted.
What's Kirsty Allsop been saying about this?
So she's actually been talking about something else, which is Rachel Reeves is looking at a mansion tax. This is on high-value properties instead of stamp duty. And she's been
Do you know why I connected the two? And I've done it wrongly, but I'm thinking, for all the people who like Penny are saying, you know, you've got to look after these.
No, I'm not saying you've got to look after them. They've got to go somewhere. You can't just say they're coming over here, put them on the streets.
Why don't people take them in? Why don't people take them into the house and say, look, I can do this, I can look after this family. I've got 2 rooms free in my house. You'll not find that happening, will you?
No, you won't, because there's the issue of safety, as I said at the top of the show at 6 o'clock. They are unvetted and unsafe, a lot of people that are coming in, a lot of young men. And then what we see as well, on the flip side of countries like Albania, the women and children are left. They're left bereft because their men have left. And what Kirsty Allsop was saying in today's Mail, and indeed yesterday as well, she was saying that there's plenty of buildings, local government buildings that are left vacant. Why can't they be changed into, you know, either private developments, private homes, and I use the word home here because home is where the heart is, and it's nothing to do with the Labour government building homes. They're not building homes, they're building battery eggs. They're battery-henned people to cage people in. And also, the other brilliant point that she made, Kirsty Allsop, was the fact that this government should be hell-bent in promoting economic growth instead of trying to plug taxes and tax, which, as we all know, and they're great for reminding us when things were in the manifesto, taxing the working people. Well, I'm sorry, we're all working. If we're here, we're working. They weren't going to do that, and this is all in mitigation.
Do you know what? Why do we expect everything to come from government? Why can't we not just do without certain things, and that's what life is? Life shouldn't be. There is an expectation that the government should provide everything for us. We should provide. There's a terrible statistic in Northern Ireland about mobility vehicles and cars. 42% of people, 42% get free cars in Northern Ireland. So if you want anything, you just say you've got a bad back or whatever the heck it happens to be, and this is what happens. I would stop that what is that called? What is that called?
Like a mobility
allowance.
You get these cars anyway, and I would stop that for start straight away.
Why are we so surprised with the infantilisation from this government over the past year and a half, and even society? We can't do this. We can't think the way we want to think. We're policed with that. We can't say what we want to say. The complete erosion of humour. There is no humour to get over points.
And you can't do better in life.
No.
They hate you if you do better.
They're limiting everything.
I always think, you know, I'm a working class guy from a council house and whatever it is, and me would be despised by government, both Conservative and Labour. They want to say, where did you get your money from? We're going to tax you. We're going to make sure you don't get on in life. I think it's
and I tell you what, the other thing that's happening as well is this medicalisation of everything. Nobody is upset anymore about the fact that, you know, that they have a breakup and now it's depression. rather than just a sad sadness.
Life, yeah.
Yes, and
There's no
all those
resilience.
other things. Yes,
No resilience.
We need more resilience built in.
Try living through a war, as an old friend
Try
had
living
said.
through the 70s in Northern Ireland as a teenager. And I do tell this terrible story that I was on this bus and basically was hijacked by gunmen who came on, and then they threw petrol bombs at it and the bus blew up. And I ran up the school driveway and I was late, and our college president, who went on to be a bishop, was standing reading his morning prayers from his breviary and whatever, and I said, Father, I was on that bus blows up like this, and I go, but I'm okay, Father, I'm okay. He didn't even raise his eyes, and he said, detention. And that was it.
Yeah.
I was pointed to detention. And the thing is, nowadays, I'd be off for 6 months.
Yes.
I would have a counsellor for therapy for all of this. You get on it, grow a pair. That's
Absolutely. Big pants on.
But it comes
and get
back.
on with
But it also comes back to something I've said on this programme before, which is that nowadays parents go in and have a go at the teachers if anything's been said to you, detention
They're not
or
on
anything.
the side of the teachers, are
They're
they?
not on the side of the teachers, and from that stem all the other problems, because if you have no respect for authority and no respect as a child, you're not taught that anybody is worth respecting because it's all about the cult of you, then where do you get respect from? You can't bring it back, and so everybody just goes around essentially kind of giving two fingers to people.
I'm going to say this about the NHS. It does too much. The NHS shouldn't be there for your ingrown toenail or a hair coming down your nose or whatever the heck it happens to be. Too much is expected from the NHS, and everybody queues up and does it. And also, the amount of people, what is it called? Health tourism.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Go into this country and
Come here and have babies.
Oof, you can't talk about that. You can't talk about that. But we're going to be talking about lots of things. And Penny, you're going to be back again to talk about John Stapleton. Okay? So John's coming in the
About
next
20
hour.
minutes, yeah.
And we're going to talk. And there he is. There's the man himself. Not too bad for a man who we're told is sick. So very good. Good to see John. And we look forward to talking to him. Here's your weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's certainly a cloudy start for many parts of the UK, but increasingly sunny weather is on the way from the east. However, it's going to feel cool in the breeze. The reason for the cloud breaking up is actually lower humidity air arriving from the northeast, and it's that northeasterly breeze that will make things feel cool, especially along the North Sea coast. Nevertheless, the thicker cloud tends to drift southwestwards through the day. It's going to be a slow clearance for the southwest of the country, but elsewhere, skies brightening through the afternoon, sunny spells, warm enough in the sunshine, but like I say, cool in the breeze with the low humidities. Some showers for parts of Shetland, for example, but for most of the UK, it's simply a dry afternoon, much drier for the southwest of England, where we've seen some heavy showers through Tuesday. Across much of the UK then, it's a bright end to the day. Still some patchy cloud here and there, not entirely blue skies. Western parts of Northern Ireland, for example, the Western Isles, as well as parts north of Scotland, where we'll continue to see showers into Shetland. But for many places, it is pleasant enough as we end Wednesday. Winds are easing by this stage as well, although still breezy around that north and east coast. Some cloud returns to eastern parts overnight, otherwise it's clear skies, and with that lower humidity air, it's going to be a fairly cool night for sleeping, certainly more comfortable compared with a lot of the nights we've experienced through the summer. Temperatures into the low teens, perhaps even single figures in some spots. But we start Thursday with bright skies, plenty of sunshine, particularly towards Wales, the West Midlands, the southwest, northern Scotland, for example. Some areas of cloud will be back, so not entirely sunny. And with that cloud and, again, that cool breeze, it is going to feel on the cool side. High teens, low 20s, so no heat wave, but pleasant enough with high pressure keeping things largely dry.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com.
Today, roadworks disrupt the A465 eastbound at Glynneath. In Northamptonshire, a lane is closed on the M1 southbound between junction 16 and 15A after a collision. In Cambridgeshire, the A11 southbound has lane closures due to a broken down vehicle between the A14 and A134. In West Sussex, a vehicle breakdown on the A23 northbound exit slip to the A264 causes a lane closure. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast reports major disruptions in the Wigan northwestern area. Greater Anglia faces issues between Bishop Stortford and Broxbourne. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
A victory in Epping as the High Court blocks the use of local hotel for housing migrants.
At the end of the day, we got a point to make, and we've made it, and we would have stayed here to as long as it have ever have taken to have got them out of here. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
Well, the Home Office warns the ruling could tear up the government's asylum plan if other councils follow suit.
Reform UK calls it a win for local people.
Is Britain's asylum system now in freefall? And could this spark a fight back across Britain?
Money in the pockets of working people. Higher living standards promised by this Labour government, delivered by this Labour government.
Living standards higher, and how will Rachel Reeves keep the promise she made there in Parliament? The latest inflation figures, they have been released an hour ago. Once again, it is on the up and it's going to get higher. It could hit 4% by the end of the year.
Would be about 3 feet higher than it is now, and it would fall to the door. So we've got a very, very reduced amount of grain due to the dry weather.
British farmers were warned they could face one of the worst harvests on record. And now, as the combines roll in, we find out if those fears are becoming a reality.
Ensure that vapes are used to get people off smoking as a tool, because smoking is very harmful to people's health.
TV veteran John Stapleton will be here to open up about his Parkinson's diagnosis and why he's refusing to slow down. He'll be joining us on the sofa alongside his former co-host Penny Smith and Eamonn Holmes for a special reunion.
The relationship can't continue. Those the words of Newcastle striker Alexander Isak, who's spoken for the first time of his desire to leave St James's Park, with Liverpool having already made a £110 million offer for the player. We'll look at what it means later this hour.
You're stuck under a cloud this morning. I've got some promising news for you. Sunshine is going to return later on for much of the UK. Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Wednesday morning. Thanks for your company. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Now, I've just been having the best time. I've dug through the archives.
Yes.
And I've just been watching an interview of you, Penny Smith and John Stapleton all together. It's the year 2000.
What colour was my hair?
Jet black. And your voice has changed a lot in 25
Do you think
years.
so?
Yeah. You're a lot more softly spoken 25 years ago.
Yeah, because I'm deaf now, so I think I shout. I think that's the thing. You tend to bark a bit.
All your mannerisms are exactly the same. I just think your voice has changed a lot in 25 years.
Yeah.
So I was...
Oh, there you are. All three of you together.
John and I with the same hair.
Oh.
So I was at university in Norwich when he had a show called The Time, the Place.
Indeed.
And if the audience was looking a bit sparse, maybe 40 minutes before the show started, some of the producers used to come down to my college.
Fill the gaps, fill the gaps.
Fill the gaps, yeah. The problem is we were all hungover from the night before and we were telling him to get lost. But I think we did appear on occasion.
I wonder if he knows that. You need to go out
I've just told him.
that
I told him.
What did he say?
He said, thanks for your support.
Oh.
Well, John presenting there with Penny Smith, the news hour on GMTV from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. They did that for many, many years. And they're back together. They're going to be talking about that. But John, unfortunately, is suffering now from Parkinson's disease. How is that affecting him? He says it's not going to stop him working and going on. And we're going to hear his story shortly.
Yeah, about 15 minutes' time.
Our top story this morning is a major win, of course, for Epping Forest Council. And your views, you're very, very supportive about this. Mark saying, about time someone stood up for us. Epping's done what every council should be doing.
Julie says, I'm not anti-immigration, but we are clearly stretched. Local services can't keep up with this ever-growing population.
You've got councils going to court because ministers can't get a grip. It's embarrassing, says Imran. Good on Epping for pushing back, says Claire. Maybe now something will actually change. Will it?
Rita says, this isn't about hate, it's about housing, resources and honesty. The system is broken.
Debbie, it's not fair on the migrants or the locals. No one wins in this chaos.
Good point.
Yeah.
Carol says, good luck to other councils trying the same. They're going to need it.
Lynn, you can't dump hundreds of people in one place and expect no pushback. And Brian says, how can you house asylum seekers in hotels when so many people in Britain are sleeping rough? London, very, very... It's full of people on Oxford Street or whatever at night.
You can have 40 people lined up outside the John Lewis in Oxford Street at night time.
John Lewis.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But you know what? However bad it is in this country, and that's around the country, it's in Glasgow and Belfast, whatever, it's nothing like America. America is disgraceful.
We've got a big problem with the
absolutely disgraceful. And I don't know what they are supposed to do or what we do, but, you know, no one should be homeless. And Prince William, of course, he's the man who says he's going to take that on and do something about it. And his work, we wish it all the best and that he gets where he should be.
It's not an easy task, is it?
So we've got the injunction from the High Court and it stops asylum seekers from being housed in Epping at the Bell Hotel.
Well, the Home Office had warned against it, saying such a ruling could undermine their asylum policies. But the judge disagreed, saying it wasn't right for the Home Secretary to intervene.
Well, now with Epping's victory, other councils, they're weighing up similar legal action, potentially creating a fresh headache for the authorities. Pension Minister Torsten Bell had this to say.
We'll carefully consider the court's judgment, but we inherited a completely broken asylum system, a disgraceful situation. Under the Conservatives, we had up to 400 asylum hotels. We brought those numbers down and we're working closely with communities to make sure we close all asylum hotels over the course of this Parliament.
Well, we're now joined by GB News political correspondent Catherine Forster. Morning to you, Catherine. And this is a headache for the government now, isn't it? Just not only practically, but politically as well.
It's an absolute nightmare for the government. This is a government that said that they would smash the gangs. The number of people crossing the channel illegally on small boats is up 50% compared to where it was this time last year. They also promised to end the use of asylum hotels, but not, in fact, until the end of this Parliament. Now, Torsten Bell, you heard him there saying, look, we are using fewer asylum hotels. I think there was 400 in use when Labour came in. That's down to 210, but there's 32,000 asylum seekers still being put up in hotels at vast cost to the British taxpayer. Some of the contracts for those hotels run through till 2029, and the Home Office's worry now is that this injunction for the Bell Hotel in Epping, which has come about basically on a planning technicality. The court found that it didn't have a planning approval for a change of use from being a hotel to basically being a centre for migrants, and that's what caused this to be blocked. Not only will the Home Office have to find new accommodation for the 139 men currently staying there. And of course, worth bearing in mind that those protests that we're seeing on the screen now came about because an asylum seeker staying at the hotel was charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. So not only is this now a headache for the Home Office what to do with those specific asylum seekers, but it sets a precedent for many other councils across the country that are not happy with this situation to mount similar legal challenges, and who's to say that many of them might not be successful. Now, opposition parties, of course, have plenty to say about this. Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, saying, bring back the Rwanda plan, that was ready to go, that would have been a deterrent. Of course, it was never implemented, so we don't know whether it would have worked or not. Nigel Farage of Reform is saying that the 10 reform councils, reform-led councils, will look at taking similar legal action. There's a Tory-run Broxbourne Council is already seeking legal advice. So we could have dozens of these legal challenges, potentially dozens of rulings against the Home Office, and potentially many thousands of asylum seekers that the government will have to find alternative accommodation for at short notice.
There, thank you very much indeed for painting the picture for us there. Frightening what Catherine said. 139 men in the Epping Hotel.
Yep.
Now, I know you just can't suddenly conjure up, make half of those female or whatever it happens to be, but you can see how people are frightened, whether rightly or wrongly, men, individuals in their town now who they don't know where they came from. Maybe they can't communicate with them too well. There was that sexual assault case involved there. But 139 men, it's like a prison, isn't it?
Yeah, and now the government has got 2 to 3 weeks to move 139 men elsewhere.
Elsewhere? Where?
And
what
then
do
it will
they do?
become another community's problem, won't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what to do next.
What would you do? I mean, if it has happened in your community, how's it affected your community? And if you're sitting there thinking, well, it won't happen to us, and then 139 men descend on your local school or whatever the hell it happens to be, whatever, however you house them, as you say, unbelievable. So let us know what you think, and we'll reflect that this morning.
Also worth bearing in mind, it's a record-breaking year, isn't it, for people crossing the Channel? I mean, it's up 50% on this time last year, and once they're in the country, you have to provide them with safe accommodation.
Still to come.
TV vet. John Stapleton will be joining us on the sofa alongside his former co-host Penny Smith and our very own Eamonn Holmes for a special reunion. But first, it's time for the Great British Giveaway. Just 2 weeks left to see how you could live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year and have £5,000 in cash. But what do you do, Eamonn, if you don't have a mortgage or any rent to pay?
Yeah, it could be you could get then your £15,000 tax-free cash lump sum. So don't miss out. Here's how.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's certainly a cloudy start for many parts of the UK, but increasingly sunny weather is on the way from the east. However, it's going to feel cool in the breeze. The reason for the cloud breaking up is actually lower humidity air arriving from the northeast, and it's that northeasterly breeze that will make things feel cool, especially along the North Sea coast. Nevertheless, the thicker cloud tends to drift southwestwards through the day. It's going to be a slow clearance for the southwest of the country, but elsewhere, skies brightening through the afternoon, sunny spells, warm enough in the sunshine, but like I say, cool in the breeze with the low humidities. Some showers for parts of Shetland, for example, but for most of the UK, it's simply a dry afternoon, much drier for the southwest of England, where we've seen some heavy showers through Tuesday. Across much of the UK then, it's a bright end to the day. Still some patchy cloud here and there, not entirely blue skies. Western parts of Northern Ireland, for example, the Western Isles, as well as parts of the north of Scotland, where we'll continue to see showers into Shetland. But for many places, it is pleasant enough as we end Wednesday. Winds are easing by this stage as well, although still breezy around that north and east coast. Some cloud returns to eastern parts overnight, otherwise it's clear skies, and with that lower humidity air, it's going to be a fairly cool night for sleeping, certainly more comfortable compared with a lot of the nights we've experienced through the summer. Temperatures into the low teens, perhaps even single figures in some spots. But we start Thursday with bright skies, plenty of sunshine, particularly towards Wales, the West Midlands, the southwest, northern Scotland, for example. Some areas of cloud will be back, so not entirely sunny. And with that cloud and, again, that cool breeze, it is going to feel on the cool side. High teens, low 20s, so no heat wave, but pleasant enough with high pressure keeping things largely dry.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Igniting that debate over controversial monuments in our public spaces.
Well, joining us now is historian and broadcaster Rafe Heidelman. Rafe, what do you make of this?
Well, the woke Taliban are back again. I thought we had seen the last of them after their insane conduct, after the Black Lives Matter madness. But I'm afraid this is par for the course. You know, Baroness Debonair is a poster child for this nihilistic this destructive self-loathing that's sweeping the nation right now. And of course, she's symbolic too of the left's long march through the institutions. Here we have again a failed politician and woke ideologue who's now untouchable in the House of Lords and can preach this sort of anti-British ideology free from any consequences. Clive of India has been unfairly attacked and maligned in the past for a very long time. That doesn't mean he was perfect, and I'm not here to defend the excesses of the East India Company, far from that. But we as a society, why is it that we as a society are no longer mature enough to understand that no person, no hero of ours is as pure as the driven snow? And if we erase people from the past, we are also erasing huge sections of our past too. This is a war on our history. When we walk through the streets, when we walk through the public square, we see monuments to the people who made Britain what it is today. Most of that will be good, some of that will be bad, but most of it will be good and sometimes also controversial at the same time. And it's just, this PC desire to delete our past, it's immature, it's undemocratic, and it's Philistine. And why stop at Clive's statue? Where does it end?
Why stop at that statue?
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Now, we're joined now by a legend in the studio, a broadcasting legend. He's presented everything. There's no point. Watchdog, Good Morning Britain, BBC Breakfast, whatever. He has done it and 1,000 things more.
Yes, and now he's returned to our screens to discuss his Parkinson's diagnosis and his determination to stay positive whilst working alongside his condition.
And today we have a special treat for you all because we're talking about John Stapleton.
Yes.
And he's reunited with his boxing partner on Breakfast Television.
Screen wife.
For the first time in 17 years.
Well, we were 17 years together.
We were.
And then I don't know how long that we haven't actually presented it. When did the wheels come off?
Nearly 10 years ago.
10 years ago. 10 years ago that the wheels came off and we went our separate ways, like sort of squeaky supermarket trolleys.
But stayed in touch.
Oh, yes, of course. We carried on with our very sober lunches.
Indeed.
Well, my friend, absolutely great to see you.
And you, fella.
And what's wrong with you?
I've got a thing called Parkinson's disease, which is what they call a progressive illness, which is a polite way of saying it'll only get worse. But thinking positive about it, lots of people live a near normal life with Parkinson's, so I'm aiming to do the same. I'm taking the tablets, I'm doing the exercises my expert tells me I should do. I'm speaking as well as I can because I need a speech therapist to talk more slowly and more clearly. I also have difficulty swallowing, and the latest thing is I've had difficulty with my balance, hence this stick I've got by my side all the time now. So, but, I'm learning to live with it, doing my best to overcome it.
John, what is it? What is Parkinson's? Those are the effects it's having on you, but where's the problem? Why does it come about?
It's a neurological disorder, which means your body doesn't coordinate as it used to do. It's the fastest growing neurological complaint in the world, believe it or not. We don't quite know why, possibly because more of us are living longer. But, as I say, you can live a near normal life with it, and so if you behave yourself, which I'm attempting to do.
But in the Movers and Shakers Club, which I know you're part of, the Movers and Shakers, which I think was set up by Jeremy Paxman.
Yes, and a couple of other guys from the BBC, yeah.
But does
Jeremy have it?
Yes, Jeremy Paxman does, yes. It's Jeremy Paxman, and then there's quite a few, Rory Catherine-Jones, and there's various others. Most of them are men, though, aren't they?
There's a couple of women there as well. And they meet every month and they do a podcast, which is very, very instructive and very good.
For awareness, isn't it?
Completely, all about awareness, all about, making light of it as best you can as well, having a few laughs as well. Because you can't all be downhearted about these things, can you?
No, you can't. I love the Movers and Shakers. Who came up with that one?
It's a great name, isn't it?
It is a great one, yeah.
John, you know what? I'm stuck in a wheelchair, right, and I have huge mobility problems. neurological as well, incidentally, with the discs in my back and how it affects your legs. Biggest issue for me is football. I just want to know from your point of view. You went, you go to the Etihad, and you're a big Man City supporter, and you and me would often be on trains together, and up in Manchester, whenever I go to Old Trafford, and you're going to the Etihad. The accessibility is difficult. It's very bad. Has it stopped you going?
Well, I'm going to go to the first game of the season on Saturday. With my son Nick. Who'll look after me, hoping I'll be okay. It's going into the ground and coming out of the ground is a problem. With the old 6,000 people converging.
Would you not use a chair?
I haven't done yet. I've resisted.
I've got an electric wheelchair. You press buttons and it does amazing things for you.
Around.
I have to say, it's worth thinking about getting an electric one.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Does it have a hooter and stuff to get people out there? Does it really?
It's pretty fast, yeah.
It's really fast.
And it's racing car red.
I went through the airport the other day. I was tempted to have one, but as I was going through, I've also got false hips. Everything's been replaced on me, so for eyes, hips, And when I go through security, beep, 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 every single time.
Yeah.
This particular time, I said, sorry, sir, we've got to take you to one side and into a private room for a closer examination. I said, what's the problem? He said, we found some evidence of steel around your groin. I said, I'm 79 years old, for God's sake. I should be so lucky. Steel around my groin, you kidding? So maybe next time I'll have a wheelchair and avoid all that.
John, you've still got your humour, though. I mean, you're making light of the situation. We know, obviously, day-to-day life must be really tough for you, but you've still got your humour, and you're making light of what must be a very difficult situation.
What's the point of not doing, It's not going to go away. All I can do is control it. I get tremendous help from Parkinson's UK, a charity, with loads of information for people of all different kinds, because there are 41 different symptoms. 41 different symptoms.
When did you first realise that something wasn't right?
About 3 years ago. My mother had it, so I recognised. I got the old tremor. The tremor makes getting dressed difficult. Right. Fastening buttons is a bit of a nightmare. And I went to see this specialist, and he said, "It's not Parkinson's yet. It's what we call a benign essential tremor." I said, "What causes that?" He said, "We haven't a clue, but don't worry about it unless it gets worse." And it did, of course. And so I recognised the symptoms. I'd seen my mother decline over 4 or 5 years. Didn't have all the help I had, but she had a lot of help in other directions. But yeah, so I knew what to expect, Ellie.
And what do you think has changed since your mum's diagnosis and yours? What progression has been made in the...
Well, I mean, on the downside, this has been around for 200 years and we still haven't found a cure, which is ridiculous, isn't it, really? But there is much more help available. Depending on where you're living, there are Parkinson's nurses available. Parkinson's UK is trying to raise £9 million to make sure that other people, everyone gets a Parkinson's nurse. It depends on where you live. Classically, this country, it's a bit of a postcode lottery at the minute. So, so it depends. But I think there is more help available, particularly with charities like Parkinson's UK. So, yeah, make use of them. That's what they're there for.
But John, you're talking about the physical effects on your body. What about the mental effects? We're running tapes today of all of us on TV, and when I think of you in the time, the place, and you used to run about that studio, and whatever, bouncing down, talking to people. Do you ever look at that man and you think, what the heck happened?
Yes, I do. I do, to be honest with you. I also think, what would have happened if my wife was still around,
Yes, of course.
Which is another factor, because I'm on my own now. Get tremendous support from my son, Nick, and his wife, Lisa, and indeed my friends and neighbours. They're all great, but, you'd be a very unusual person if you didn't, from time to time, just sit there and think, God, how life has changed. But I can't do anything about it, so what's the point of moaning about it,
Yeah,
try and make it as light as you possibly can.
And we still manage our lunches.
We still manage our lunches.
Which don't go on perhaps for quite as long as they used to, maybe.
Quite as much wine as we
don't drink quite as much wine. But
and you two have such a lovely friendship, and you worked together for a long time. I mean, 17 years in the telly world is
17 years.
Incredible, isn't it?
Never a dull moment with Penny Smith, I can tell you, as Eamonn will verify, I'm sure. Never a dull moment.
We just watched that clip that you ran a bit earlier, and it was so funny because there you could see me wanging on about something, and you've got that face on you that you used to wear quite a lot, which was like this. I mean, I'm exaggerating.
I've seen it. What the hell's coming next? Yes, exactly. She used to play tricks on me, one of my jobs was, at the end of the hour, was to do the brief weather forecast, which was on autocue. And after I'd gone down to the studio, she'd go into autocue and change the autocue. So one morning it came up, it said, if you're waking up this morning, you may experience damp patches.
And you read it, and then you stopped and looked at me, and that made it much worse.
Exactly.
Oh, dear, dear,
So
dear.
is Penny the naughtiest on set?
She liked to push the boundaries of naughtiness, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I used to say, she'd say something, I think, I can't believe she just said that. Just tell yourself the viewers are probably still rubbing the sand from their eyes, or tell yourself they've probably gone for a cup of coffee, they didn't hear it either. Don't pursue it, it'll only get worse.
I remember taking you aside once in a corridor and I said, Penny, you're brilliant, you look fantastic, and it's good. But here's what you should do, Penny. You should just stick to reading the script.
Never.
There was no chance of that happening.
Well, I'll tell you what... Yeah, I mean,
That says the man who never sticks to a script.
As you well know, the viewers loved her for it, because at the end of every news bulletin, she'd have a joke or a smile up her sleeve, and the viewers loved all that. Why not?
Indeed. Yeah. And the reaction to Penny being back on the show this week and being on, people love nostalgia. They love this.
Yeah, nostalgia is definitely a thing. I like the fact that when you got introduced, you read the auto cue and you went, I hate the expression veteran. It just means you're flipping old.
John, you realise I didn't read it. I didn't say veteran. I just said legend. Whatever.
But it did say veteran. Yeah.
Why do you think that era of telly is so fondly remembered by viewers? Do you think it's just how warm and friendly?
Well, of course it was.
Came through.
Well, it was very
I'll tell you why.
on.
There was more people. You had more to say. You could be more off script, the way we are in GB News. But today you just get people who are told because of wokeism, don't say this, don't do that, and do read the script and stick to it. So you get presenters now who have got much less personality and much less risk.
Well, they're risk averse, aren't they? Yeah. That's the whole point. Is that probably nowadays I'd have been sacked within 2 months.
Well, I like to think it's because we did our homework, didn't we? You know, we went on there knowing what we were talking about. And we challenged people in a friendly but firm way, you know.
John, I remember presenting with you, which would never happen today. You and I presenting GMTV in the morning, right? And you would never have two men now. Don't ask me why. You could have two women doing it, but you would never have two men. And this man, to me, he was always the governor. It wouldn't matter if it was my role. I was beside him. That was John Stapleton. I said to him, you're the boss. You do what you do. He was the senior guy. Still respect him and look up to him. What do you think of what you see on TV today?
Well, I'm not as critical as you, perhaps. I think I'm more. I mean, I think there's still some damn good programmes on TV, some very good documentaries, and I think most people in the news area do the level best they can and are very competent. So. I hate to sit in judgment, but I do watch the news like you, I'm sure, in a very meticulous way, thinking, why are they saying that? Why have they put that there? Why have they put this here? But, you know, we're out of it. It's over. For me, it's over. So there's no point in sitting there harping about what's going on now.
That's a good way of looking at it and being reconciled.
It's gone. I had a great run. I was in the business. I was in television for 45 years, Eamonn, you know.
The run, what a run.
Well, some ups and downs, like we all have, you know, from time to time. I have absolutely no complaints. I was damn lucky.
We were lucky. We had local television and we had national television. And nowadays you don't really have local television. It doesn't have this quality of programmes that you were able to do in places like Manchester. Incredible. You said that was then, that's over for you. What's ahead for you? How do you see the future?
Surviving, basically. Doing my best to cope with this downturn in my lifestyle, really. But as I say, I could be far worse off. I've got a great mate, a lovely son, lovely daughter-in-law. Thank you, darling. Makeup, tribute to your makeup department.
Well, it's so good to see you looking so well, and so lovely to have you two reunited.
Just like the old days.
I know. Just like the old days. Yeah. Just before we let you go, your fondest memory of working with Penny and Eamonn. Put you on the spot here.
There were so many.
I don't know. It was just there were so many laughs along the way. If you actually look at any of the clips, you know, there was barely a day went by when we didn't actually.
I remember one morning we went on at 6 o'clock with no auto cue that had gone down, with no outside source. None of the outside broadcasts were working, and we got one guest in the studio who'd been wrongly booked.
Yes, exactly.
Mistakenly booked. We thought she was talking about subject A and she was talking about subject B. I remember saying to the producer, "What should I do?" He said, "Just talk to her." I said, "What about?" I said, "Anything at all, just talk to her." we did for about 10 minutes.
We just waffled on.
So they got
it. You made it work, though, and I bet you it was great.
It was good fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think in those days, you know, the whole point about breakfast television anyway, and you know this as well, is that essentially you two are talking to people. You're all bright and breezy. You're talking to people who are just trying to remember which order they brush their teeth in. You know, just going, and so you're in their home. And I think that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Breakfast television.
It's a privilege.
It's a privilege. You're talking to people who are waking up and they have chosen you to give the information.
And I'll tell you what I do
set
miss.
you up for the day.
I miss the excitement of waking up, of telling people something they didn't know when they went to bed. I used to
You like that? You always say that.
A lovely thrill to say hello, good morning. I bet you didn't know this sort of thing. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Overnight, this
Stuff they didn't know when they went to bed.
Exactly.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Now, I used to love working with John because Manchester United ruled the world. We're big football fans of Manchester.
How life has changed, Eamonn.
Yeah.
How life has changed.
And that basically is, that's why I can't stand him anymore. I'm glad I'm not working with him. I'm not around listening to his constant harassment.
I remember saying, he had a dressing room. We shared a dressing room together when I arrived there. His dressing room was a shrine to Manchester United. So I put in some pictures of Man City as players as well. He wasn't too pleased. But I remember taking him to Man City one day when we played United.
Yeah.
And United scored first. I think David Beckham got the goal. And Eamonn jumped to his feet, punched the air, and then suddenly realised he was the only person standing
on the ground.
Surrounded by a sea of blue and white.
Yeah. You think you'll get the title this year?
Every chance, every chance. I mean, where we played against Wolves last weekend, why not?
Why not?
You're a lot better too. They're doing better.
We're a lot better. We get top 6, maybe.
Yeah.
But, you know, but there you go. High times change, as you say.
Lovely to see you, mate.
Friend, delightful to see you. Thank you very
John,
much.
so lovely to meet you. And so
Ali.
lovely to have you all back together. The gang is back together on the sofa.
Bless you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate all of that. Hope you enjoyed watching and listening to John there.
Did.
Here's the traffic and the travel.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Expect some delays on the A465 eastbound at Glynneath, with roadworks closing the onslip and diversions in place. In Northamptonshire, the M1 southbound between Junction 16 and Junction 15A is experiencing a road traffic incident, resulting in one-lane closure. Normal traffic conditions should return between 9:45 and 10 this morning. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast is facing major disruption in the Wigan northwestern area. Greater Anglia is also experiencing significant delays between Bishop Stortford, Hertford East and Broxbourne. Stay up to date at gbnews.com for more travel news.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Just had a view in from Tessie saying, I absolutely loved watching John Stapleton. I wish him well.
Yeah, there were a lot of memories there that we
Yeah.
just went through, and thank you for sharing them with us.
It's lovely to see you all back together.
And you were telling us your John Stapleton story about Time, the Place, because it was recorded in Norwich, where you went to uni.
It was. I just regret not going in more often, actually, because I was just...
You should have seen John when you had the chance.
I did. I had a chat with him at the time. I remember him coming for... He said he came from Oldham. He supported Manchester City. I knew his life story. It's a pity he didn't know who the hell I was, really.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
But
he does
it's great
now,
to see him.
Aidan.
Vanessa Feltz was working out there as well. I met Graham Norton for the first time. He came in and asked me directions.
And now they don't do that. That's the point I was making about when you used to have regional television and big programmes. Like I used to work in Birmingham.
I think
on
Survivor was a programme that was done out of Norwich.
Sorry, what?
Survivor. Do you remember that? It was a nature programme. They sold it all over the world.
Yes,
East Anglia Television.
Yeah, Southampton. There used to be a lot of programmes
Yeah,
coming
right.
from Southampton.
Meridian, yeah.
What did I work? Central Weekend in Birmingham. So many programmes. I had a chat show in Cardiff.
Did you?
For HTV there,
Who were your guests?
You didn't watch it?
No, I didn't, sorry.
We used to talk, it was good because we used to talk to ghost people and, people who experienced like that. Casper, what have you got sports-wise?
Look, we've done Isak to death at the moment, but we know that he's trying to engineer a move out. But Alejandro Garnacho, the Man United player, he's turned down a move to Bayern Munich, according to the back page.
How do United pay the bill for all these people who don't play for them?
Well, I think they're going to go on loan, aren't they? Chelsea value him at £40 million. United value him at 50. They might square off somewhere in the middle. There's only 11 days to go to get
He's a great player.
I think he is. I think he's justified in thinking that he's going to be able to play in the Premier League.
I hope they can sort of rehabilitate him, reform him, get him in the team.
I just think if
it's exciting.
I just think if as a Man United player, you want to be keeping your young players, don't you? That's it. Mo Salah last night winning the PFA Association the PFA Player of the Year award. Morgan Rogers winning the Young Player award. Mo Salah more than deserving it. He won it previously in 2018 and 2022.
Appreciate it, Aidan. Thank you very much indeed. We've got Penny Smith and we've got Claire Muldoon back again. And there they are, getting into position to discuss what's in the papers.
Yeah, including Brits spending talking about the weather each day of the year. Speaking of the weather, here is actually some holiday sun. Here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
For anyone heading further afield for a break over the next few days, it is going to be hot for southern parts of Spain, thundery through central Mediterranean and fairly breezy through Greece, especially around the islands, but less hot here compared with last week. Some hot sunshine in the south of Italy, very thundery through central and northern Italy, Croatia, the Alps as well. Plenty of fine weather for Iberia, staying breezy through the Canaries, and it stays similar across central Med through the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney. Weekdays from 3 p.m.
Are you as surprised as many no doubt watching this show that the career of Meghan Markle seems to have risen like a phoenix?
Well, you talk about ashes, but I think we have to accept that it is us, the media, who created those ashes. There was no statement from Harry and Meghan and no indication at any point. But we all decided that the Netflix deal was dead in the water. So it's one in the eye, actually, to all her detractors. Cameron summed the whole thing up very, very well, though I have to say that he kind of spoke about all these projects, but if you analyse it, it's one show that's in the can already, that's her lifestyle show. There's a holiday special about Christmas, and then there's the Ugandan documentary, but Harry is mentioned in that only as one of many producers, quite a long way down, actually, and Meghan is also mentioned there. And the rest of it is all very, very vague what's going to happen, but the fact of the matter is, they have won, Meghan has won, and we have to eat humble pie.
Do you think there's something in now, this hierarchy has been flipped? It was the royal prince who was the box office, he was the trouser wearer, if you like, in this relationship in terms of public profile. Suddenly, it's Meghan Markle, as you say, who could be the angel on top of the tree. Prince Harry languishing down there as something, I don't know, a bit of an inconsequential elf.
Yeah, but I think he has realised that perhaps television isn't his forte. You know, producing television programmes is really not as easy as he might have thought. And he's far better not on the celebrity treadmill or the production treadmill. He's much better using his name for his campaigns. And I think that he is going to be going in that direction with just a little foot in the Netflix camp from time to time.
GB News.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
So much reaction to John Stapleton being on the show this morning. I could listen to John all day. Positive, calm, sensible, no moaning about his terrible illness, just surviving with dignity and humour. Brilliant, says Julie. So lovely to see John again, who's never changed in spite of his illness. His wonderful take on how he deals with his illness is a masterclass, says Anita. And just so many here, but maybe summed up by Steve. Tell me I'm not the only one with a tear in my eye watching that. Thank you all very much indeed for that.
Let's speak now to his on-screen wife, Penny, and Claire Muldoon, who join us for the papers. It was very moving seeing you together, Penny. Just such a lovely friendship that the two of you have got. Let's have a look at the friendship, shall we? Let's have a look at this one, shall we? Sorry. Outlook Chatty, how we talk about the weather for days in this country, is the Daily Mail this morning.
I think this is one of those things where you say, really, what a surprise. We love talking about the weather. The average Briton spends 56 hours a year talking about the weather, which is equivalent to more than 2 full days. I tell you what, why? We have interesting weather, considering that when you compare us to sort of massive continents like America, they have all this extreme weather. Our weather, and of course, it is getting more extreme, but nevertheless, I find talking about the weather that's very soothing, I think. Do you listen to the shipping forecast? Oh, don't we just... I love the shipping forecast. And of course, I've got no idea. I hear it going on, Tyree, no rocks.
I think it's generational, though. I really do. I don't think young kids discuss the weather. Anyway,
I don't discuss the weather.
I don't discuss it.
That makes me a young kid,
To be fair, yeah, I mean, we know what the weather is. It's either tops off or tops on.
Yeah, exactly. You get up and you sort of, do you need a coat, do you not need a coat, whatever.
Look at the way, does it look as if it's going to rain down or whatever?
No, I suppose I suppose in terms of if you meet somebody and you're just idly chatting whilst waiting for something. So say, for example, if you were going in to go and pick up, as we do nowadays, we go and pick up something that we've ordered, so before we then go and take it somewhere else and send it back again saying it doesn't fit. With all those people that you're meeting along the way, the weather is an easy one.
Let's see what people are talking about today. Claire, what's caught your eye? What do you want from the list that you've got there in front of you?
Right, so yesterday the Education Minister, Bridget Phillipson, she put out a quote on social media: "You don't need a posh blazer to learn your times tables, and Shakespeare is just as inspiring in a supermarket sweater." This is, of course, the Labour government's plan to, deregulate, in my view, uniforms. And I'm sorry, right? The Mirror have got a thing here today, an op-ed, "Coal for school, parents pestered into forking out for trendy tech." If parents have got the money to fork out for trendy tech, it's even going down to cups, special cups that kids need to take into school. New phones, for instance. Phones should not be allowed in schools, in my view. And all the rest of the stationery, skincare products, if they have the money for that, why are they bleating on about the cost of a uniform? My view, my house, my rules, they had none of that. All went to good schools. There were state schools. They wore their blazers with pride. It was identifiable. And do you know the thing else it did? Made everyone the same.
Equal.
Absolutely.
And there are those who will argue it doesn't make you equal.
Well, it does.
And do you know what's wrong with the whole country? There are not enough uniforms.
Yes.
They don't wear uniforms in banks. They don't wear uniforms for security. They should be identifiable. Countries like Dubai have uniforms. Everywhere you go, uniforms, and the place looks good and tidy. We look like rag bags.
Yes.
You go into banks and people, you say, who the heck is serving? Who's behind the counter
I
there?
don't think working from home helps. I think people have to. I'm a great believer in shirts and ties. I don't think the expanse into polo shirts for primary school children is a good thing at all. It's slovenly. I want
Claire,
someone to look respectable and it's discipline as well.
My parents did not have money. Believe me, there was no money in our house. And I know it was a problem getting us uniforms for the schools that we went to. But they did it. They did it all the time. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And all this nonsense, and the thing that I'm really against is giving kids breakfast clubs at school. You talk about a waste of money. Waste of complete money. So we had, as I say, very poor family, whatever. I never went to school without my Weetabix or without my boiled egg and toast or whatever it was. And that's what happened.
Yes.
Why can't it happen today? The expectation from people out there who just expect everything done. Everything
delivered
done.
On a plate,
they don't know what graft is. They don't know what hardness is. They don't know what doing without is at all.
Yeah, they really
you don't have to tell. I know I'm speaking to you, and I know I'm from Belfast. You're from Glasgow. We know what poverty is. We know it's there in front of your very eyes all the time. And I was from the area which has been voted the worst area to grow up in the whole of Northern Ireland. And that was, we didn't know it at the time. It was the New Lodge Road. And I didn't know it at the time, but I'm proud to have been associated with it there, proud to have been there. And, I just think these things come down to individual things. I'm really against this, and I'm against listening to politicians who say, we've no money, we're bust, whatever it is. I could get you money, put me into the Treasury, and I'll sit there and say, you can forget that, you can forget that, you can forget that, throw it out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. And parents need to take a big step up and pull their big pants on as well and say, look, you're not getting that. It's not part of the curriculum. It's not going to give you your GCSE or your O grade or your A level or your higher. What is going to get that is discipline, industry, and the ability to actually work and work hard. That's what we should be promoting. None of this nonsense like, well, a supermarket sweater is just as good. It might very well be. And that might very well be the place that the school would want you to get your uniform from. But actually, if you go to the school shops, the uniform lasts much longer. It's not a false economy then by going somewhere cheaper. Let's get this done. Let's get kids identifiable within their uniform. Let's get them some discipline and let's give the parents the choice.
I do feel sorry for parents, though, with this age of children who have got social media, have got advertising coming at them, and these children demanding skincare products that are £100, 150 quid.
Ellie, don't feel sorry for them. It's the parental responsibility to say no.
I know. There's a lot more pressure than what our parents...
No, there's not. If you're a parent, the pressure is not there to indulge your child. Your duty is there to instruct your child. You're not their friend, you're their parent.
Let's advertise. It's these big companies I mean,
social media.
As Ellie was saying, you know, they push this in social media and to tell them they need skincare products.
10-year-old girls.
How pimply were we at school? You know, you get through it, so you get pimples, you get acne, you get whatever it is. I still have dandruff. So, you know, it's not...
Well, they don't even need them because there's filters now to remove all of that, so it is just a big con.
Yeah, I think we come back to that social media thing about should children under 16 even have a phone? Just give them a break. They should just, you know, we managed perfectly well. I know that you go back to that, yes, but it was a different time. But we managed perfectly well without having a phone stuck to the end of our fingertips.
Penny, you know, I laughed at the thought of when in about 1976 or 77, calculators came into the business, right?
Oh, I know. And everybody said we shouldn't really allow those to be in the schools.
Our school went bonkers. I mean, you came around and you were searched to see if you had a calculator.
No. Nobody went sneaking around.
Slide rules there.
It was slide rules and everything else, I never knew what to do with...
I used to sit on a watch.
I never knew what to do with my slide rule. I just thought it was a very attractive item.
And now everyone's walking around with a calculator in their pocket on a smartphone.
On the phones,
and everything.
Penny, did you have a little nap yesterday after your
No, I didn't. No, I carried on. This is a fascinating story. This is about something called EDS, excessive daytime sleepiness. Now, this is different.
That's me.
Now,
I always have to have a nap.
But you work so hard.
But that's because you get up early.
And I do 5 days a week and I get tired.
And you do 5 days and you get tired. So this is not that. That's what I'm saying. This is not that. This is when you've had a perfectly decent kip, you've done your 6, 7, 8 hours, however much you like in the evening, and then you eat a meal, and then you suddenly find that you're reading the inside of your eyelids and you're dribbling down your arm. Now, that is called EDS, excessive daytime sleepiness, and they reckon that they worked out that it's particularly bad if you eat fermented and pickled food. I thought that was good for you. Overripe food, they're saying, as in things that are on the turn, which I'm forever eating. Aged cheese and smoked meat. So those are the things you should avoid if you do have a bit of if you have a touch of EDS.
So rich foods basically make you sleepy.
Rich food, although fermented and pickled isn't particularly rich, is it?
See, this really surprises me because I would have thought it was hydrocarbons. I thought like a lot of bread. And
you said about the bread. No, it's not. I've looked all through this. I haven't checked everywhere else. But yes, I'd have said with you, I'd have said it was carbohydrates and that sort of thing.
Food.
No, it's those things which are particularly bad, and it's when you should eat food less high in tyramine, whatever that is. So you should eat more things like fatty fish, nuts, seeds, and vegetables.
Penny, I've got.
Are you on the turn?
I feel like I'm going to have a bit of sleep now. I need a bit of that.
Okay.
It's been a delight being with you this week. Thank you very much indeed.
Penny.
Absolutely lovely. Claire, always a delight to see you. Thank you very much indeed for your opinions. Just got everybody talking, as does the weather. Let's talk about it.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's certainly a cloudy start for many parts of the UK, but increasingly sunny weather is on the way from the east. However, it's going to feel cool in the breeze. The reason for the cloud breaking up is actually lower humidity air arriving from the northeast, and it's that northeasterly breeze that will make things feel cool, especially along the North Sea coast. Nevertheless, the thicker cloud tends to drift southwestwards through the day. It's going to be a slow clearance for the southwest of the country, but elsewhere, skies brightening through the afternoon, sunny spells, warm enough in the sunshine, but like I say, cool in the breeze with the low humidities. Some showers for parts of Shetland, for example, but for most of the UK, it's simply a dry afternoon, much drier for the southwest of England, where we've seen some heavy showers through Tuesday. Across much of the UK then, it's a bright end to the day. Still some patchy cloud here and there, not entirely blue skies. Western parts of Northern Ireland, for example, the Western Isles, as well as parts of the north of Scotland, where we'll continue to see showers into Shetland. But for many places, it is pleasant enough as we end Wednesday. Winds are easing by this stage as well, although still breezy around that north and east coast. Some cloud returns to eastern parts overnight, otherwise it's clear skies, and with that lower humidity air, It's going to be a fairly cool night for sleeping, certainly more comfortable compared with a lot of the nights we've experienced through the summer. Temperatures into the low teens, perhaps even single figures in some spots. But we start Thursday with bright skies, plenty of sunshine, particularly towards Wales, the West Midlands, the South West, northern Scotland, for example. Some areas of cloud will be back, so not entirely sunny. And with that cloud and, again, that cool breeze, it is going to feel on the cool side. High teens, low 20s, so no heat wave, but pleasant enough with high pressure keeping things largely dry.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A90 southbound at Forfar Road, Dundee has restrictions due to a broken down vehicle. Drivers should proceed with caution. The eastbound A465 at Gleneath is undergoing roadwork, closing the on-slip and implementing diversions. In Northamptonshire, the M16 southbound between junction 16 and 15A is affected by a traffic collision with one lane closed. Normal conditions are anticipated between 10:30 and 10:45 this morning. And on the trains, there's major disruption on Avanti West Coast in Wigan northwestern area. Stay up to date for more travel news. Go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness.
You've won £54,321.
Please don't joke. This would change my life.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GB News.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it. Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. A victory in Epping as the High Court blocked the use of a hotel for housing migrants.
At the end of the day, we got a point to make, and we've made it, and we would have stayed here to as long as it have ever have taken to have got them out of here. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
The Home Office has now warned that that ruling could tear up the government's asylum plan if other councils follow suit in suing.
Reform UK calls it a win for local people. Is Britain's asylum system now in freefall, and could this spark a fight back across Britain?
Money in the pockets of working people. Higher living standards promised by this Labour government, delivered by this Labour government.
Spend, spend, spend. How will Rachel Reeves keep that promise to make us all better off? Do you feel better off? The latest inflation figures have been released this morning, once again on the up, with the Bank of England warning it could hit 4% by the end of the year.
would be about 3 feet higher than it is now, and it would be full to the door. So we've got a very, very reduced amount of grain due to the dry weather.
British farmers were warned they could face one of the worst harvests on record. And now, as the combines roll in, we find out if those fears are becoming a reality.
Sure that vapes are used to get people off smoking as a tool, because smoking is very harmful to people's health.
So a major review finding that children who vape are 3 times more likely to go on to smoke. So, are we creating a nicotine generation?
You're stuck under a cloud this morning. I've got some promising news for you. Sunshine is going to return later on for much of the UK. Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Good to have you on board this morning. If you're watching or listening, you're very welcome. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Just to say, Ellie, just these comments coming in about John Stapleton and that interview with him.
Oh, it was just so lovely having the 3 of you reunited on the sofa this morning. Chris says it's like a trip down memory lane. It was so good. Adrian says, so great to see John Stapleton and the 3 of you back together on GB News. Take care, John. It's amazing what they can do these days to help you. Susan said it was the best interview for a long time with John, Penny, Eamonn and Ellie. And Sarah says, what a lovely man John Stapleton is. All our very best wishes to him.
And he looks exactly the same.
Exactly the same. That's what I said to him. He looks great.
Yeah. And
look at that hair.
Yeah, look at that hair. Do you think when you see the pictures of me from that era, that...
which hopefully we've got for you.
Do you think I've changed?
You haven't changed a dot.
Oh,
you haven't changed a dot. But your accent has changed, I've noticed.
Right, tell me how.
Right, so I was watching a video this morning of you on the 2nd of May, the year 2000. I can see it, and you are very softly spoken compared to the way you are now. And I actually think you've got more of a Northern Irish accent now than you did then.
So,
there he is.
So maybe I had a television voice.
Maybe you did.
Maybe as I've got older, I don't care.
You're unapologetically you, yes, a proud Northern Irish man.
I think the great thing about GB News as a station is it lets you be you.
Yeah, that's so true.
And, the things that we can... It's not exactly that we're not making political statements, but we're highlighting when things are out of order, they're out of line, and agreeing with you at home about things that you say and things you complain about, and no one else seems to reflect. Maybe we're not as nice or straight as some other channels are, but we say it as it is.
Yeah.
And
I think people really like that, and that is the changing game, I think, what people look for in their news.
In their news. Well, I'll tell you what, inflation is on the up, and it's going to go further before the end of the year. 3.8% in July, higher than economists were expecting at this moment.
Yeah, up from 3.6% in June. And as Eamonn was saying, the Bank of England is now forecasting that inflation will increase further this year. It will even peak at around 4% in September before easing throughout the next 2 years.
That's going to make Christmas very expensive, isn't it, when you think about it?
The run up to Christmas will be very expensive.
Catherine Foster in the studio for us now. She's our political correspondent. The repercussions of this, and why is this happening, Catherine?
Well, this particular rise, we're told, is linked to airfares going up. Summer holidays, of course, are just coming to the end of them. And also food prices, which have gone up 4 months in a row. Now, of course, we all need food. Families, especially, no matter how much you earn, you've got to buy food. The Resolution Foundation have said that it's particularly concerning for families. Now, Torsten Bell, who used to head that up, is now the pensions minister. He was talking earlier, talking about the fact that, there's been successive interest rate cuts. But this is bad news for all of us, and I think it is worth taking a look at Labour's record, because when they came in July last year, inflation was at 2.2%. That's just 0.2% higher than the Bank of England's target of 2%. Now, a year on, it's 3.8%, so not far off double, and likely to go higher.
Could I just say something, Catherine, against you? I can understand you arguing this may be governmental responsibility and whatever, but it's not Labour's policy to send us all on holiday. And I think there's an expectation, you know, whether you feel I haven't really had a holiday unless I'm abroad, unless I get on a plane. And, you know, all I'm going to say is there has to be a certain amount of responsibility on behalf of people. I mean, for instance, I didn't go abroad for 2 years or so, and I genuinely looked at it and thought, it's not worth it, it's not worthwhile. And there's people who just can't afford this. Why do they insist? Why do they take their kids out of school and they have to have a foreign holiday?
Well, sure, and I think expectations have changed. I didn't go abroad till I was 13, and then it was just a school trip to Boulogne, and I was very sick.
Till I was 18.
So, you know, we come from a different time, but airfares are very cheap. I completely take your point. I think more worrying is food prices going up. And of course,
I agree, because you can't avoid that. You have to have that.
You have to buy food, and we've seen how food prices have rocketed since the cost of living crisis began. Inflation was up 11% a couple of years ago under the Tories. Some food products have gone up between 20 and 40%.
Do you know, and I just want to say to you, I want to play devil's advocate in this. I wonder how much responsibility the supermarkets have to take in this. You know, for instance, what they would pay our food producers. You know, how much are they creaming off the top of that? And how much they're making a lot of profit. All these supermarkets, I don't think you're going to find any of them losing money.
Well, supermarkets would say that their profit margins are very slim. Farmers would say that supermarkets do not pay a fair price for food. But
look at Tesco, we're talking about profits in the billions, not in the millions, but in the billions. Like, you can't tell me that they're being hard done by.
No, but they have effectively a stranglehold on the market, because nearly all of us find ourselves shopping in the big supermarkets. But, you know, some individual food prices, you'll see yourself. I know the prices of the things I buy every week, and many of those have not just gone up by 5-10% over the, you know, they've nearly doubled, and especially some of the economy ranges, that the price has gone through. Something like orange juice, economy orange juice, for example, has gone up by 100%. So it's especially difficult for people with large families, people on lower incomes, that, you know, we all have to eat, and I think it's reflected in the fact that people are having fewer takeaways. I mean, you know, many people would see that as a luxury. Fish and chips is so expensive. I mean,
we were talking about this during the break. I mean, you just can't afford it, especially in London. And, you know, when you go and buy fish and chips in Grimsby, compared to London, it'd be like half the price.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have fish and chips every Saturday when I was growing up, but it was just something we did. And now I might have fish and chips once or twice a year. The last time...
It's 14, 15, 16 quid, isn't it?
I had it, me and my son, a few months ago, just the two of us at home, we had it as a treat. I think it was £27. I nearly fell over, you know? So people are still feeling the pinch hugely. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, of course, has said there is more to do. They are saying, look, interest rates are coming down, wages are rising for many people faster than inflation. But it's really hard, because that cost of living crisis, those 11% rises, of course, even though inflation is going less fast, all those price rises are now baked in. So it's still really, really hard for many of us.
Very difficult for people.
Quick word on Epping and what's happening there, and if it can be repeated across the rest of the country, as a lot of people are hoping it can be.
Well, it potentially could be. We know that Tory-run Broxbourne Council are already seeking legal advice. Nigel Farage of Reform has said that their 10 Reform-led councils will do everything they can to follow suit. Worth saying that the government are going to appeal this. I can see the potential for dozens, potentially, of similar legal challenges. In this case, the Home Office were not allowed any sort of last-minute intervention. That might be different in future cases, but this sets a really worrying precedent for the Home Office, in that if it can happen here on basically a planning technicality...
I was making this point earlier today, which is, right, what happens to them, right? You throw them out of the Bell Hotel. What do you do with them? Where do they go to?
They just get moved to another part of the country, don't they, Catherine? The problem just moves.
The problem does move.
It doesn't go away.
And a lot of these hotels have got contracts through till 2029. If they are not being used for asylum seekers, is the government going to be able to get out of that contract, or are we going to be paying these contracts even if dozens of asylum hotels are standing empty, and as you say, they have to go elsewhere, so likely in houses of multiple occupation. I was talking to a taxi driver, I think it was the Runcorn by-election a couple of months ago. He's also a landlord, and he was saying, look, I've got a rental property. I could make so much more. The government would give me like a 5-year contract. They would deal with all of the problems and I could just take the money, he said, but I don't feel comfortable to do that. So that's another issue. I mean, the bottom line is they need to get the numbers down, and at the moment, the numbers crossing the channel on small boats are up 50%.
And once they are in the country, we, the government, has an obligation to provide safe accommodation. So they will have to go somewhere.
We do.
That's the problem. I mean, the Tories have spoken about migrant camps or floated that idea.
Well, yes, and I mean, Andrea Jenkins of Reform caused outrage, didn't she, a few months ago when she basically said, why can't they stay in tented camps? There is an obligation under human rights law to treat people decently. But look, we saw the Conservatives attempted to house people on, like, barges, the Bibby Stockholm, to make it less attractive, to send a message, if you come here, we're not going to put you up in a hotel, you know, we're not going to make it nice for you. And that came unstuck. There was a suicide, there was Legionella, you know, it's very difficult. People do not want these asylum seekers in their area. You know, the current Epping Hotel, it was triggered, the protests, by an asylum seeker who has been charged with a sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl.
Shocking, shocking, Catherine. Don't know what to say, but people are having their say. We thank you for your analysis on those subjects this morning, and thank you for all that you have had to say. Anything you want to add, Ellie?
Just lots of you getting involved this morning. Cheryl says, imagine how much money is being spent on lawyers, hotels and chaos.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, crime is up and the NHS is stressed.
OK. Well, that's where your money's going. What do you think about it? Money could be coming to you in the Great British Giveaway. Have a go.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now do stay with us. Still to come, a heartwarming reunion that you won't want to miss. The legendary broadcaster John Stapleton was back on our screens earlier with his TV wife, Penny Smith, and our very own Eamonn Holmes as well. But if you did miss it, we're going to replay the moment next.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
We've been talking about the situation in Epping all morning, haven't we? And that High Court injunction saying that asylum seekers can no longer be housed there. We're talking about, well, where do asylum seekers go then? If you do have to house them in a place that's safe. Tessie's been in touch saying they can still be treated humanely inside specifically built deportation centres. She says we need deportation centres in different parts of the country.
And they could be processed there.
Where they are then processed, yeah. And they're no longer free to roam the streets and not in hotels anymore. Also would stop them working illegally in the black economy.
Well, thanks for your view on that, and thanks everybody who's been in touch today. It's really got you talking. Now, just referring back, this morning we had an icon in the studio, certainly for me, a legend, broadcaster, John Stapleton. John presented everything on telly. He presented Watchdog, you know, he's presented Time, the Place on ITV, and goodness knows what stuff for the BBC and ITV, and then Good Morning Britain. But however, and that was on ITV as well for breakfast. So he's returned, and we had him in the studio today because John also has Parkinson's disease. His mother had Parkinson's as well, and we were trying to talk to him how he dealt with it. And we reunited him with his TV wife. You're talking about the physical effects on your body. What about the mental effects? We're running tapes today of all of us on TV, and you know, when I think of you in the Time, the Place, and you used to run about that studio, you know, and whatever, bouncing down, talking to people. Do you ever look at that man and you think, what the heck happened?
Yes, I do. I do, to be honest with you. I also think, you know, what would have happened if my wife was still around, you know.
Yes, of course.
Which is another factor, because I'm on my own now. Get tremendous support from my son, Nick, and his wife, Lisa, and indeed my friends and neighbours. They're all great, but, you know, you'd be a very unusual person if you didn't, from time to time, just sit there and think, God, how life has changed. But I can't do anything about it, so what's the point of moaning about it, you know?
Yeah,
try and make it as light as you possibly can.
And we still manage our lunches.
We still manage our lunches.
Which don't go on perhaps for quite as long as they used to, maybe.
Quite as much wine as we
don't drink quite as much wine. But
and you two have such a lovely friendship, and you worked together for a long time. I mean, 17 years in the telly world, is it?
17 years.
17 years.
Never a dull moment with Penny Smith, I can tell you, as Eamonn will verify, I'm sure. Never a dull moment.
We just watched that clip that you ran a bit earlier, and it was so funny because there you could see me wanging on about something, and you've got that face on you that you used to wear quite a lot, which was like this. I mean, I'm exaggerating.
I've seen it. What the hell's coming next? Yes, exactly. She used to play tricks on me, you know. One of my jobs was, at the end of the hour, was to do the brief weather forecast, you know, which was on autocue. And after I'd gone down to the studio, she'd go into autocue and change the autocue. So at one morning it came up and it said, if you're waking up this morning, you may experience damp patches.
and you read it, and then you stopped and looked at me, and that made it much worse.
Exactly.
Oh, dear, dear,
So
dear.
is Penny the naughtiest on set?
She liked to push the boundaries of naughtiness, yes. Yes. Absolutely. And I used to say, she'd say something, I think, I can't believe she just said that. Just tell yourself the viewers are probably still rubbing the sand from their eyes, or tell yourself they've probably gone for a cup of coffee, they didn't hear it either. Don't pursue it, it'll only get worse.
I remember taking you aside once in a corridor and I said, Penny, you're brilliant, you look fantastic, it's good. But here's what you should do, Penny. You should just stick to reading the script.
Never.
There was no chance of that happening.
Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, I mean...
That says the man who never sticks to a script.
As you well know, the viewers loved her for it, because at the end of every news bulletin, she'd have a joke or a smile up her sleeve, and the viewers loved all that. Why not?
Indeed. Yeah. And the reaction to Penny being back on the show this week and being on, people love nostalgia. They love this.
Yeah, nostalgia is definitely a thing. I like the fact that when you got introduced, you read the autocue and you went, I hate the expression veteran, it just means you're flipping old.
Johnny realised I didn't read it. I didn't say veteran. I just said legend, whatever.
But it did say veteran. Yeah.
Why do you think that era of telly is so fondly remembered by viewers? Do you think it's just how warm and friendly?
Well, of course it was.
Came through.
Well, it was very
I'll tell you why.
on.
There was more people. You had more to say. You could be more off script, the way we are in GB News. But today, you just get people who are told because of wokeism, don't say this, don't do that, and do read the script and stick to it. So you get presenters now who have got much less personality and much less risk.
Well, they're risk averse, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Is that probably nowadays I'd have been sacked within 2 months.
Well, I like to think it's because we did our homework, didn't we? You know, we went on there knowing what we were talking about.
And we could have gone on talking.
It was so lovely having you all together.
Oh, thank you. That was
the whole gang back together on the sofa. Very special. And we had lots of views in as well. Martin says, absolutely wonderful interview. It was so moving, yet so uplifting. John is a true inspiration. Karen says, what a treat it was to see John back on the screen. Such warmth and so much wisdom. He is wise, isn't he?
True.
David says, that really touched me. Such courage and honesty from John. A lesson to us all.
He's the governor.
Patricia says, so lovely to see him with his old friends. Isn't that nice?
Well, you're going to see Charlie... No, we're going to see Miriam and Charlie Peters, today. Here they are. The lineup's changed a bit.
Never mind about him.
Yeah.
Yes, we're on in a few minutes' time.
What are you doing?
Well, we're going to be looking at this Epping hotel migrant victory. Also, inflation figures, record highs again out today. 4.9% food inflation.
Yeah, significant raise there. We're looking at that. And also, you've all seen it now, Operation Raise the Colours. The English and Union flags popping up all over the place. We'll have an exclusive interview with one of the organisers behind Raise the Flags UK. They'll be coming into the studio to talk about why that craze is sweeping the nation. It's all very interesting. It's coming up shortly. What else are we doing today, Miriam?
Well, we've got our papers review, and also, should the police be using facial recognition technology at Notting Hill Garden?
All of that after the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's certainly a cloudy start for many parts of the UK, but increasingly sunny weather is on the way from the east. However, it's going to feel cool in the breeze. The reason for the cloud breaking up is actually lower humidity air arriving from the northeast, and it's that northeasterly breeze that will make things feel cool, especially along the North Sea coast. Nevertheless, the thicker cloud tends to drift southwestwards through the day. It's going to be a slow clearance for the southwest of the country, but elsewhere, skies brightening through the afternoon, sunny spells, warm enough in the sunshine, but like I say, cool in the breeze with the low humidities. Some showers for parts of Shetland, for example, but for most of the UK, it's simply a dry afternoon, much drier for the southwest of England, where we've seen some heavy showers through Tuesday. Across much of the UK then, it's a bright end to the day. Still some patchy cloud here and there, not entirely blue skies. Western parts of Northern Ireland, for example, the Western Isles, as well as parts of the north of Scotland, where we'll continue to see showers into Shetland. But for many places, it is pleasant enough as we end Wednesday. Winds are easing by this stage as well, although still breezy around that north and east coast. Some cloud returns to eastern parts overnight, otherwise it's clear skies, and with that lower humidity air, it's going to be a fairly cool night for sleeping, certainly more comfortable compared with a lot of the nights we've experienced through the summer. Temperatures into the low teens, perhaps even single figures in some spots. But we start Thursday with bright skies, plenty of sunshine, particularly towards Wales, the West Midlands, the southwest, northern Scotland, for example. Some areas of cloud will be back, so not entirely sunny. And with that cloud and, again, that cool breeze, it is going to feel on the cool side. High teens, low 20s, so no heat wave, but pleasant enough with high pressure keeping things largely dry.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Today, the A465 eastbound near Glynneath has roadworks with the on-slip closed and diversions in place. In Gateshead, the A1M southbound exit slip at junction 64 is closed due to an earlier collision. Cheshire East drivers should be cautious on the M6 northbound between junction 16 and 17, where an accident has closed 2 lanes. In Northamptonshire, a collision on the M1 southbound between junction 16 and 15A has closed 1 of 4 lanes. And on the trains, there are major disruptions with Avanti West Coast in the Wigan northwestern area and Greater Anglia between Bishop Stortford and Broxbourne. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
But, all right, let's move on, shall we? Gentlemen, are you checking your engines at home? Some men know more about Formula One than signs of prostate cancer. A new survey reveals 27% of men could name more F1 drivers than what the symptoms were for prostate cancer. Well, I can now speak with specialist Professor Carol Sikora. Carol, thank you very much for joining me. Listen, this is quite a shocking statistic. And, you know, prostate cancer is a big killer of men, and it can be sometimes a silent killer. I guess what should we take away from this?
I think it's amazing, the article today in the Telegraph about it, that F1 is more commonly known about than prostate cancer. Quite frankly, a study 25 years ago in the British Medical Journal showed that 70% of men didn't know where the prostate gland was. Everybody over 70 is listening to this. About 65% of people over 70 actually have prostate cancer, but it won't cause them any trouble. And what we have to do is identify those cancers that are going to cause trouble, like Mr. Hoy's cancer, for example, that's causing him a lot of trouble. We need to look at young people with aggressive cancers and pick those up early. And that seems a reasonable campaign.
Yes, and what should we do, Professor? Because, I mean, many people point to the government that they need to do an awareness campaign or something like that. What can be done?
I think we could introduce PSA screening for those men that want to, and it's there. If you go to your GP and say you've read about it, you'd like to do a PSA test, it's very simple. You can do other blood tests at the same time.
GB News, the People's Channel.
It's 9:30 on Wednesday, the 20th of August, live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Charlie Peters and Miriam Cates.
And a victory for the people of Epping.
At the end of the day, we got a point to make, and we've made it. And we would have stayed here to as long as it have ever have taken to have got them out of here. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
Yes, the High Court has blocked the use of the Bell Hotel for housing migrants and ordered that they must all leave by the 12th of September. But will this ruling just displace the problem elsewhere? And which council will launch legal action next?
Well, here in Epping, the contractors for the Home Office now have to find alternative accommodation for those asylum seekers as a matter of urgency. And all the while now, we're looking at fresh legal challenges likely to be mounted at the High Court.
A nightmare for the government, this. The precedent that it sets could potentially lead to them having to house hundreds of migrants elsewhere at short notice. Where on earth would they put them?
And there's some breaking bad news for Chancellor Rachel Reeves this morning because inflation has shot up to 3.8% due to food and flight prices.
Yes, taxing times, because rural families could be slapped with a £380 council tax hike to fund more deprived towns. And the Chancellor plans to tax high-value homes in a so-called mansion tax.
We're going to find out about President Putin in the next couple of weeks, that I can tell you. And we're going to see where it all goes. It's possible that he doesn't want to make a deal.
Well, President Trump has hinted that the US would be willing to provide air support to ensure peace in Ukraine and warns that Russia's Putin could face a rough situation if he doesn't cooperate in the peace process.
And a grassroots campaign called Flag Force UK is promoting the public display of flags to help people show they are proud of where they live. Would you take part?
We refuse to run, we've only just begun. You'll find us chasing the sun.
That's the voice of Max George, the lead singer of The Wanted. He'll join us to discuss how music helped him deal with the grief of losing family and friends.
And boozers at a London pub are outraged as they're being slapped with a 4% service charge when ordering at the bar. Would you pay 30p more for a pint to support your local?
Busy show coming up today, and Miriam, that Flag Force UK interview in the studio, one of the organisers behind that group will be coming in, speaking out for the first time about why they have been such a significant part of this craze that's sweeping the nation. Flags all over the place. I think it's quite nice to see, don't you?
I think it's about time, because if you go to other countries, America or France, they have their national flag everywhere. It's not seen as controversial, it's not seen as offensive to anybody. Why shouldn't we do the same here?
Yes, but we've seen Tower Hamlets and Birmingham councils taking down the flags, and there are reports this morning sent to us by Flag Force that the same thing is now happening in York. We've reached out to the City Council. We'll see if they get back to us before the organiser comes into the set, but you won't want to miss that very interesting discussion